All of them as well. What a move to the 48. Oh, look at this. And onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
And so we venture back to West Kingsdown in Kent as we get ready to end what has been quite an enthralling journey. Of course, the British Formula 4 Esports Championship returns in partnership with Wave Italy, and of course, bringing you one incredible championship finale. Whilst things are fairly settled in the Formula 4 side of things, they are definitely not in the British Formula 4 camp. It is locked in points at the top two. It is going to be fantastic. But of course, as you can see, Cameron Roger has returned home. I've headed to Portugal, but we are still here. We're still live, and hopefully this time I get to join you for all of the racing because it looked fantastic at Donington Park.
Yeah, certainly was. The four races we had over the two categories there were amazing, and I can't wait to see how we're going to be finishing the season. The battles have been amazing up and down the grid, and with it being so close, it's going to be a very tight championship decider.
One final time, then let's take a look at how the format works. Of course, we'll be dealing with qualifying, which will be getting underway just about now. There'll be two races of 15 minutes, and of course, that second race will be the reverse grid between P5 and P10. Of course, starting with the Formula Fords, we'll move to the British Formula Fords afterwards, beginning with those British Formula Fords. The schedule for the season, as you know, we've journeyed all the way over. We started in West Kingsdown for Brands Hatch. We've gone to Donington Park, to Snetterton, to Alton Park, to Silverstone on the Grand Prix layout, which was crazy, before we ventured north of the border at Knockhill, then to Donington Grand Prix before we returned home to Brands Hatch. And of course, what that's done in the championship standings left Henry Moore with a fairly comfortable lead, taking into account the 2 rounds of drop scores which they've had. He's got 234 points ahead of Dana Moore on the 196. Ronnie Smith and Jason Keeper battling over third position in the championship before we can get to Zero Zamba. Adam Tompkins hasn't taken part in the last few rounds. As you can see, the rest of the top 10. It's really about Henry Moore just making sure he pieces his way through the round. Dana Moore needs an absolutely perfect one, but realistically speaking, things are set in the championship. As we'll get ready in qualifying, we'll take a little bit of a gander around this fantastic circuit. Of course, in West Kingsdown. Oh, I think he's come to us.
And here we come on to the lap, of course, around the Brands Hatch GP circuit. It's a very interesting one. We start off here at Paddock Hill Bend before you work your way downhill, then back up in towards Druids. Of course, a very tight hairpin and probably one of the best overtaking opportunities of the track, actually, to be honest. Is the main sort of braking zone, but then you work your way out very quickly already in towards Graham Hill Bend, a tricky downhill braking zone in towards this left-hander where you'll see the drivers use all of the curb and everything, even the AstroTurf there on the exit before we come down the little straight in towards the bend. Of course, takes us on to the Hawthorne straight, and this one is a very fast one. It's pretty good overtaking opportunity if you can get the runner. Looks like Sikorsky is on a bit of an outlap here, but when you see the drivers get all the way up towards the top, It is a very fast corner, and this is why, despite being the longest straight, it's not the easiest overtaking opportunity, because you don't have that braking zone as we come now in towards the Westfield bend. A very fast right-hander that opens up this GP loop. It's a tricky one. This is all right-handers. They're all slightly different though, especially this one coming through Sheens. It's a huge slide there on the rear end. You're going to be seeing that quite a lot. You're going to be getting that curb nailed before coming into actually a left-handed corner to finish the GP loop at Sterling's, and then the run up towards the final corner in towards, of course, Clearways and the Clark curve to finish off the lap. And it's certainly going to be a very fast one, very high average speed around here, not loads of hard braking zones. So the drivers who can keep that rear end in check and keep the flow going over the course of this circuit are going to be improving on that one. So it's going to be a very exciting action as we get in towards this qualifying session. 6.5 minutes remain for the 1600s, and Ronnie Smith already goes up towards the front, but by 0.5 of a second, very close with Dan Moore in second place. But no, it's Henry Moore, your champion-elect, up towards the front by 1.5 on a 131.847. Once again, looking very strong. He's had an amazing season so far. He's been on the podium in every single race, and in fact he's had 5 wins in a row, doing the double at Donington and Knockhill in the 2 previous rounds. It's so certainly going to be a really good one. But yeah, as we come on to the back straight, let's see what they can do for the second laps.
Yeah, again, the joys of working abroad. I've now moved into a different room, so hopefully we shouldn't have too much of a disaster on the internet side of things. But we are here in qualifying. Henry Moore, of course, rolling his way around the circuit. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic in qualifying, hasn't he, Cam? He's been almost bulletproof. What is it? Is it 5 poles that he's had this season? Just keeps seeming to piece things together and put himself in position to take this championship. And of course, the top 2 in the championship, they do earn themselves progression through into the British Formula 4 Esports Championship with a fully funded seat for next season.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome opportunity, to be honest, is getting that experience in the British F1 Esports Championship next time round. Ronnie Smith goes to the front, then Jason Cooper takes that as well. That's only going to be what Henry Moore is looking out for. Zambro gets in front of him as well. What can Moore do? 2/10 down now on that lap that he set last time, coming up towards the line, and he's going to go back to that provisional pole position up to the front.
Yeah, classic. We know these lap times do get stronger and stronger. Of course, Henry Moore did win the last Formula Ford Festival, which was around here. Of course, it was Brands Indy, not Brands GP, and so we can see them working their way around. Brands, yeah, it's a tricky circuit. I did message Henry Moore before this broadcast. You'll never guess what he said. I was like, "So you're going to win tonight?" He said, "Oh no." Oh,
yes. We get a shout out, Lewis.
Yes, thank you, Dan and Moore. There we go. We are apparently legends. What a nice guy. What a nice kid. And again, hopefully secured second in the championship. Well, he's definitely secured at least second. There might be the chance of victory, but let's be honest, it's not likely.
Yeah, certainly not, with the way the drop scores work, and the fact that Henry Moore's worst round, I believe, is second and second. Oh no, probably be the first and third that he's had twice. So
yes,
yeah, that's going to be a very difficult one for Dan Moore to overcome, even with a double victory today. But he can certainly open himself up very nicely to a potential funded seat next season in British F4.
Yeah, Dan Moore up towards the line, seeing if he can work his way forward. Across the line he goes. Ronnie Smith moves up to the front. Jason Cooper now moves up to the front, with Shiro Zama moving into second position. Quite a tight little fight in here, but I think Henry Moore is slightly behind them on the road, so we might well see that number 41, the iconic dark, I was going to say dark blue, but it's kind of just, it's a very aggressive blue as Henry Moore has crossed the line. Lap time not counting as he comes through Paddock Hill Bend. 3 minutes left to go in the session. Of course, they get 4 laps in this session, and so it's generally speaking, it's the 4th lap, isn't it, Cam? That's it's the fast one.
Yeah, we do often see that. It's just generally most of the drivers do their 4 laps before we get to the end of the session. But you're right, in terms of their individual count, it is generally the ones towards the end. They get a bit of a rhythm going, get some heat in towards the tyres as Phelps jumps up into the top 6. But what I'm actually loving is how close these times are. With the GP circuit being a little bit longer, sometimes you can expect the gaps to open up, but this is just as close as we expect Brands Hatch to be.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of one of those things. Like the pressure's off in the title race, isn't it? So it's all you can all go a little bit more aggressive and take bigger risks and actually go for it. You want to end the season on an absolute high, and with that 31.354 from Jason Cooper, maybe he's got some more time to improve when it fires it through the final corner and up towards the line. See what he can get out of it. Final lap times potentially, I think, coming in. It is the fourth one from these drivers. It is a 3:31. So ever so slightly faster as Ronnie Smith has come to a close in the session. Dana Moore goes into third. Jack Badger into the top 10 with Franek Sikorsky now moving into that 8th position. Lap times are going to come in thick and fast, but is it going to be good enough for pole position from Henry Moore as he comes up to the line? The answer to the question is, of course it is. It's Henry Moore, and that could be the 6th pole position of the season for Henry Moore.
That would be an amazing stat to basically round off an amazing season so far, and by over a 1/10 of a second as well, which is really good. He just got faster and faster as the session went on. Here's Isaac Phelps. He was on a bit of a run last time out. Unfortunately, got involved in an incident that wasn't quite his fault from memory. Across the line, he's going to do a 31.3, I should say, goes up to third place, getting very tight there with Zambra, just 7,000 of a second faster.
Yeah, and once again, just to reiterate with you all sat at home, if you are joining us for the first time this season, I mean, you've been missing out on quite an incredible championship. So hello, welcome. This is the Formula Ford. Of course, this is the British Formula 4 Esports Championship broadcast, of course, in partnership with Wave Italy. Now, what we're going to be doing through this broadcast, as we have done throughout the season, the Formula Ford is the support category. We go qualifying and race 1 on the Formula Fords. Then we'll do qualifying and race 2 of the British Formula 4, which will be up in probably about 20 minutes. Then we will come back for the reverse grid in the Formula Fords before we end the evening with the reverse grid of the British Formula 4, the title deciding race to see who is going to be coming out on top in the championship. We are building up that whilst we see the final moments of qualifying. Have a little thought on that one, Cam. We've got quite a fight in the championship in British Formula 4. Was a 3-way fight between Gordy Much, Luke McEwen and, of course, Pete Berryman.
Yeah, as you say, 3 drivers within 25 points, and we have a couple of races to sort that one out. So it's going to be a big night, especially coming in with 2 drivers equal on points. Literally, it's whoever beats each other, and that is the best thing. But we've got to be looking out for Gordy Much not getting any more penalty points like he did last race.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's put it down to them being locked on points at the top. We'll deal with British Formula 4 later on because it's time to deal with the Formula Fords. And of course, the first starting grid of the evening, Henry Moore on the 6th pole position, Jason Cooper back on the front row with him with Isaac Phelps and Zero Zambra. Dana Moore dropping back to the back end of the top 5 with Ronnie Smith inside that top 6. Anyone in this top 6 can genuinely win around here. Such a fantastic circuit. Connor Skudau will start from 7th position with Simon Ball in 8th. Franek Sikorsky inside the top 10 alongside Ed Hope on row 5 with Jack Badger and Lee Britton starting to struggle a little bit in qualifying. Only done half the season. We did see some good results from Lee in the recent past. We've got Owen Whittle, Matthew Crisp, Brandon Loudon, Will Hope, Cam Knowles and Daniel Caulfield inside the top 18. Still got another page to deal with though before we get to the rear of the field as Martin Vilk down in 19th position and Jordan Groves the last driver to set a lap time. Mac McFarquhar and Aaron Mensah 21st and 22nd on the grid. We'll see them on the grid though, Cam. Who is taking this win? Is it going to be yet another one from Henry Moore?
I think it is going to be, and that would be 6 in a row. Remember, he's already had 5 in a row every race on the podium this season. But to be honest, I think with this first race, controlling it from the front is going to be what he can do.
It'd be an incredible 10th victory of the season from Henry Moore. He has to do it, though, from pole position. He's got Jason Cooper, who's yet to take a victory in the Formula Fords alongside him. We go racing down towards the first corner. It's a good start from our Polestar. Not great, though, from Jason Cooper. He's having to fend off Isaac Phelps into the first corner as they head their way into Paddock Hill. Down the hill they go, and what's for the up and under? Zero Zambra might go for something as they get towards Druids. Under the bridge they go, into Druids' corner. The inside line being taken and defended by Isaac Phelps, who's on the podium at the moment. I think there might have been a little bit of contact in the background, but everything looks fine to me, Cam.
Yeah, certainly does. We had some side-by-side in the background with Skudau and Simon Balls. They tried to work their way through the first couple of corners. It looks like it's pretty much single file, at least for the top half of the field, but we are getting a few dives up the inside, which is always a fairly decent overtaking opportunities in towards Surtees. But as they now come out onto this back straight, this is where the slipstream is going to come into effect.
Yeah, indeed, as they race their way into the Grand Prix section, up, of course, towards Hawthorns, up Hawthorns Hill, bit of side-by-side here, back end of the of the top 10. Couple of switches for position. This will be between Jack Badger and Franek Sikorsky as the pair of them go side by side. Badger in the 17, Sikorsky in the 46, and the inside line being taken. Sikorsky will take over the spot, but watch this 3 wide as we head down through Westfield Bend up towards this fast right hand around the back end of the circuit as I head towards Sheen. It's quite aggressive between this lot, and very scary indeed. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's certainly a very fast track even in these cars, and they are going for some moves as Ed Hope is up into 9th place there. Jack Badger gets Sikorsky losing another place, losing even more as he come out onto the start finish straight, losing about 4 positions there in the space of 2 corners, and might start going backwards because Crisp and the other Hope, Will Hope, are trying to get past him as well. Hope actually getting past Matt Chris there, up in towards turn 1, side by side they go in towards Paddock Hill Bend. That's always a pretty difficult situation. I've seen Sikorsky as well losing potentially another position there as Whittle gets past.
Yeah, look at all this. Zero Zambra. Zambra's had a problem. Zero Zambra has had a spin at Druids, reverses it into the gravel. Oh my goodness. To be fair to him, he was as far off the line as humanly possible and still got driven into. But that was very sketchy indeed. I don't know how much damage he's got. It seems like the car is okay. We'll see what happened to Zero Zambra as to whether it was if it was only volition. Isaac Phelps looking down the inside of Jason Cooper here, and so Zero Zambra goes around the outside. Was there contact that spun the rear end of that car out?
I think so. It did look like Phelps was on the apex, so I wonder if Zambra was just holding it a little bit tight. Let's see this from the heli shot around the outside. How much is he going to be pinching down? I think, definitely a bit of contact. I think a little bit unlucky, maybe just a bit more of a racing instinct, because I don't think either of them were squeezing each other too hard there.
No, it's light. I mean, that contact there was just like a bit, oh, wait, what? I feel bad for Zero Zambra and all that. But, yeah, I think the bit there between Zambra and Phelps was kind of like, yeah, they were both racing each other fairly hard. I don't know there's much in it. The inside line being looked at by Isaac Phelps. Whoa, that was an aggressive move, trying to get 2nd position, trying to send Jason Cooper off for the road. And he's going to send him back down to 3rd position. It might end up be 4th by the time Danamor's worked his way through. And look at Danamor coming through with Ronnie Smith as well, who might try and work his way past. A bit of a freight train happening there to Jason Cooper. He settles the damage at 4th.
He says he does. No, he doesn't actually. Up the inside, it was Druids a little bit late, but a contact between the two actually. There on the apex of the corner, they go wheel to wheel down the hill. Danamor just about holding on to that position. He's really having to work for it though, as Jason Cooper tries to retake that position now. Down, of course, the Cooper straight in towards Surtees, a little bit tight there from Danamor. That might slow him down onto this back straight.
That was, I'm going to classify it as brave defence. I thought Amor was going to get spun straight into the barrier then, just on the nose of Jason Cooper, hence the reaction. Slipstream being picked up by Isaac Phelps. Of course, Henry Moore dishing it out, and this pack will be closing it in. It is 5 for the lead between Moore, Phelps, Amor, Cooper and Smith. As they will fight their way through. I think Simon Ball's a little bit too far off the rear end of this train, but this fight, I can almost guarantee you was going to take us all the way to the checkered flag. Ed Hope and Jack Badger switching over for 8th position as the number 11 works their way into it, but we cannot take our eyes off this battle for the race lead. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we've got a couple of trains going up. This for the race. You've got the top 5 in there, but also that battle from 8th down to was about 14th place. Jack Badger down to Martinville. Look at this absolute chaos coming up towards the final corner. Side by side we go. There's Jack Badger on the inside line. Hope on the outside, trying to hold on to that position. But looks like Badger's going to have the inside line, the shorter run, of course, with it being a curved straight up towards Paddock Hill Bend. 3 wide we go across the start-finish line.
Oh my goodness. I thought that was going to be an unbelievable crash. Martin Vilk straight down the inside of Will Hope at the rear end of the train as Henry Moore is now having to fend off. Isaac Phelps has come out of absolutely nowhere. This is the slipstream. As you run out of Sheen Curve towards Stirling's and then you begin this kind of run all the way round to Paddock Hill Bend and towards Druids, you get unbelievable slipstream. It's what's causing this fight to be absolutely crazy and epic indeed. Henry Moore will retain the race lead, but Isaac Phelps is knocking at the door and fancies one for himself.
And in the background, Cooper's gone backwards as well. It's Ronnie Smith comes past. An awesome battle up towards the front. In these top 5 as Henry Moore having to defend a bit down down that straight and in towards Hawthorns we go now. Smith, contact on the rear end of him as Jason Cooper manages to hold on to that. We've seen Cooper go around a few times over the course of the season. He does like to get involved in these battles, but it has caused a few spins and a few DNFs.
Riding on board on the roll hoop with Jason Cooper. You can see them heading up through the Sheen Curve curve as they go through, Dingledale and then through Sheen, then into Sterling's, pull it left and then bring it left over as you were describing on the hot lap. Tricky little part of the circuit, requires so much bravery, especially when you sat down in the cockpit. You can see very little. Look, Isaac Phelps going into the final corner of clearways. That is such a brave move. Henry Moore has got to really work if he wants this 10th win of the season and wants to take the title now. It's going to be the inside line. It's going to be 3-1 as well, as Dana Moore's going to try and take it straight around the outside. Moore third? No, Moore first, but he's going to have to drop back into third as Isaac Phelps will take over the race lead.
He certainly will, but here comes Henry Moore back up the inside in towards Stewards. They're going to be side by side through the apex of the corner. Around the outside is going to be for Isaac Phelps. He should be able to hold on to that one for now, but here comes Dana Moore trying to confirm that third place as Ronnie Smith was attacking him, but up the inside is going to be for Phelps once more. Moore is going to be hit out towards the right-hand side. Now Dana Moore's going to have to be brave, diving it up the inside here. We go side by side in the background as well as Jason Cooper tries to come around all the way around the outside of him, but Isaac Phelps hold on to the lead onto the back straight.
That was very impressive indeed as they head on to the Grand Prix loop. The inside line being taken by Henry Moore. A bit of a push there from Jason Cooper on the back of Dana Moore. Henry Moore might work his way back even into fourth position. Depends how brave they are. Dana Moore's going to try and go around the outside of Isaac Phelps for the race lead. It's going to be side by side as they head their way through Hawthorns. Side by side in the Westfield Bend as well. It's side by side for the race lead. 2 cars deep. Absolutely incredible Formula Ford action as Ronnie Smith is going to try and take it 3 wide into the likes of Sheen Curve. That is wild. That is aggressive. That is brave. That is absolutely fantastic. Incredible racing here as Dana Moore will take over the race lead. It is a Moore, Phelps, Moore, Simon Ball now has got himself into the mix ahead of Ronnie Smith and Jason Cooper. It's 6th of the lead, just about halfway into this race.
This is some NASCAR style racing going side by side 2-3 rows deep around the GP loop, and how it's ended with 7 minutes to go is Dana Moore, Phelps and Henry Moore up towards the front, but actually no, it's not, because now Dana Moore's going to be under attack. Isaac Phelps once more as we on the spin in the background. Ball collects as that's Ronnie Smith unfortunately through Paddock Hill Bend getting involved up inside the top 4, but now Ball is going down the field.
Yeah, but Isaac Phelps is going up the field. He wants to get past Dana Moore. They're side by side going down into Graham Hill. Dana Moore will hang on to the race lead. It's now 3 for the race lead realistically. But let's be honest, do not count out Jason Cooper. Big shame there, an easy slide. There's Dana Moore taking the defensive line and Moore hanging on to the race lead. Once again, they head back out onto the Grand Prix loop and the slipstream games begin. They drop down as they head under the bridge, back up at Hawthorns Hill towards the Hawthorns Bend. And you can see the overspeed, just because that first bit of slipstream, the overspeed that Isaac Phelps had is absolutely incredible. Look at Henry Moore as well.
This is getting very tense. Henry Moore tries to get that position back round the outside. It's going to be for Phelps. Can he hold on to it? No, Dana Moore just covers that one off. But once again, we go side by side in towards Sheen Curve. This is so tight between the two. It's really a one-line corner. Henry Moore uses all of that curve, tries to go to the right-hand side. And what this is going to do is either move around the outside, or what it's going to do is slow down Phelps onto this straight up towards the Clark Curve. And that gives Dana Moore just about a car length's worth of advantage as we come up to the final corner of Clark once more, as the laps certainly fly past. Henry Moore's not having it easy this time around. He's really having to work for this one.
I'm not going to lie, Cam. I know we've still got 5 minutes and 40 seconds left to go of this race. This is absolutely race of the season territory. How incredible is this? 15 races in to the championship. Sure, the title may effectively be settled. That's cool. But this racing is absolutely phenomenal. And we're being shown quite the display here from all the talents in the Formula Ford camp and showing exactly how it's done and really kind of laying the gauntlet down to the British Formula 4 boys and saying, right, we can do this. Show us exactly what you can do. Let's see what happened to Simon Ball, though.
Yeah, in towards Paddock Hill Bend on his own right now. Cole just lost the rear very early in that corner. And unfortunately there, Ronnie Smith went to the outside but couldn't avoid the contact. And Simon Ball there just really pushing the grip on that rear end. And the rear suspension is completely damaged on that. He's going to be having to come back into the pit lane as we see there. But that was certainly getting involved up towards the race lead, though. We go back once more. Isaac Phelps on the outside. Dana Moore this time around not quite been able to hold him off as he actually does to come back up the hill.
Jeez, that was so close. They head their way through Sheen Curve after Dingledale, and Dannemore continues to lead. About 1 minute 30-second lap times, which means we've got about 3 laps left to go from this point on. 4.5 minutes left on the clock, basically, and it is Dannemore in control. Henry Moore sending one down the inside, the exact same place that Isaac Phelps gave him one. They head through the final corner. Henry Moore with the inside line. Jason Cooper almost trying to push him up towards the first corner of Paddock Hill, and you can see that little bit of contact from the rear end. Jason Cooper just getting into the rear of Henry Moore. 0.6 of a second of a lead from Dannemore. Well, I can tell you something. Unless Isaac Phelps battles hard over this lap, I think Henry Moore will close that one back in, mostly courtesy of the slipstream.
Yeah, it's certainly looking very powerful around here. There's short straights, but there's quite a few of them around this track. But as you say, Dannemore has a bit of a lead. Can he hold on to it with just a few laps to go? He's had a strong race so far, getting himself up towards the front. The issue for him is that he's got a championship rival and pretty much champion of the series right in behind. It's a 4-way battle up towards the front. Scudell, Smith and Britton having a little bit of a battle with Jack Badger on the rear end of that for the top 5 fight as well. Insane battles up towards the front. It's been a much closer sort of race than I was expecting. Actually, it seems to be a lot better for the overtaking in these cars than you might expect. But it does seem that you can send it around these corners, and if you just make a bit of a mistake, you lose so much momentum onto the next fast corner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these cars, obviously there's no downforce on them really. You're talking 115 brake horsepower, 116 brake horsepower in these cars. It means they're so raceable. As Ciro Zambra is trying to work his way back up the order, down the inside of Will Hope, going into Sheen Curves. Very brave to do it through there, trying to march their way back up the order. Again, reminder that after this race, we'll show you the spinny wheel for the last time in the Formula 4, which is very sad, to work out what's going to happen with our reverse grids. Numbers between 5 and 10 are the important bits that we're looking at here. So anyone between 5th position and 10th position, they will be fighting for the reverse grid pole position. Anyone below that, you're starting the next race in the position you're presently running. Isaac Phelps down the inside for 2nd position on Henry Moore, who I think's main aspiration here is to remain on the podium for the 15th time.
I think he would like to get 6 wins in a row as well.
I think that's brilliant.
But yeah, you're right. The podium throughout the whole season would be an amazing feat. The issue of him is he's got Jason Cooper behind, who may not have got the results he wanted this season, but he's fast and he is very, very racy. And also, he's got Isaac Phelps, who, bearing in mind, Isaac is 8th in the championship. He's only got 45 points compared to the 234 points of Henry Moore. So he's way down in that respect, but he's really giving it a good race today. And he's got nothing to lose. He might as well go for this final round of the season, and he's getting involved with obviously drivers who are fighting up towards the front. Even Jason Cooper, he wants to try and gain points because he's only 10 points off Ronnie Smith, which will be the 3rd place in the championship.
Yeah, of course, Jason Cooper definitely wants that position. Would like an extra podium. Would like a first win of the championship, here in Brands Hatch in West Kingsdale. Meanwhile, like I say, Henry Moore's looking for a 15th consecutive podium. Isaac Phelps is looking for a 1st podium, which is wild because we've seen them battling up the order so many times. But still, right in position 2. They head their way across the line. It is 4 for the race lead and 1 final lap to decide it here in the Formula 4. The inside line being taken from Dannemore. Isaac Phelps following him over to the right-hand side as they head into Paddock Hill. Henry Moore's going to try the up and under as they head their way down and up towards Druids once more. And let's see what position's going to happen. Is there going to be any opportunity? Big, unreal send there coming in from Henry Moore. And it might work, Cam.
It absolutely has. Isaac Phelps there was on the inside defending, almost looking at Dannemore, but Henry Moore just used the space on that left-hand side. He's made it work up into 2nd place, and this actually gives him an opportunity maybe to get the race victory. But up the inside, Phelps comes back for that 2nd place. It's going to slow him down, bit of contact onto the straight.
That was just a breather, just a touch of contact between the pair of them. It's actually going to work out in favour of Henry Moore, but maybe not so in favour when it comes to going after the race victory. I think Dannemore might be in position to do so. It's not going to be 6 consecutive ones, but hey, that's me counting it a few corners before the end of this. Is Brands Hatch after all. Isaac Phelps getting pushed out just a touch as Jason Cooper comes through. It might not be a 1st series podium for him.
It might not, but Henry Moore here is actually getting a run. He might have the race lead by the time we get to the start-finish line, if he can work it out in towards Sterling's, the final left-handed corner of the track. And in the background, Phelps is diving up the inside for 3rd place.
Yeah, this is going to be very brave. They head their way down towards Clearways, down towards Clark Curve. The defensive line's being taken from Dannemore, who's done so much in this race. He would love a victory here. Straight around the outside, though, from Henry Moore. This is going to be a big old drag race towards the line between the pair of them. The top 2 in the championship, the top 2 two in the race as they come up towards the line. It is a race victory for, I don't know, it's Dana Moore, I think, but it's so close. It's Henry Moore by 5 thousandths of a second for the 6th consecutive time and a 10th win in Formula Fords. Wow, that was close.
How on earth did he keep that momentum round the outside? Amazing stuff there from Henry Moore. Absolute sends there on the final lap. Started it in third, comes out on top, and then Jason Cooper also holds on to the podium. What a battle, though, from all of those drivers up towards the front. Unfortunately, Ronnie Smith got involved and went a little bit further down, as also Simon Ball did at one point. But loads of drivers are getting up there for the penultimate race of the Formula Ford season. That was incredible.
So much fun. We love these races. We've really loved the support category this season. And like you say, to have Henry Moore, to have Dana Moore, to have Jason Cooper on the podium once more, fantastic stuff. But for one last time, we have the spinny wheel back out in action. What numbers it's going to be. We've seen 5s, we've seen 10s, and I love breaking it to them in the interviews and just making them all depressed when it's a big number. Let's see what it's going to be around here. To be fair, it might even be the lowest number of all. Is it going to keep rolling into the 8? I don't think so. It might come to a stop. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Not going to be. Oh, it's close. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, it is going to be 8. It is going to be 8. Oh my goodness, it is 8. Lee Britton will be starting this one from the reverse grid pole. I thought that was going to come to a complete stop in the 5th. No, we're not getting the smallest reverse grid. We want drama here in the final round. It is Henry Moore then taking the victory by the smallest margin we've ever seen. Dana Moore in 2nd place, Jason Cooper, Isaac Phelps, Ronnie Smith, Jack Badger, Connor Scudell and Lee Britton. Reverse those 8 drivers and you have the starting grid for the next race. Of course, Henry Moore grabbing the bonus point for fastest lap as well. Everyone else will be starting in their positions right now. So you've got Martin Vilk, Ed Hope, you've got Owen Whittle, Jordan Grove, Zero Zambra, William Hope, Mac McFarquhar as well, Aaron Mensah up from the back of the grid with Franek Sikorsky, Daniel Coffield, of course, Brandon Loudon, and Simon Ball retiring from the race. Big shame, Simon Ball really got himself back involved in it. Matthew Crisp and Cam Knowles retiring on the opening lap, which was indeed a big shame. Of course, in a moment, we'll catch up with our drivers that were on the podium once more. Of course, it's been a fantastic performance from them. And it does mean that first off, we should probably have a quick chat with our race winner, Henry Moore, who will be dragging in here. Oh, you're going to get bored of chatting with me. This is the 15th time this season we've had a conversation, and it is a 6th consecutive victory, but it was by a very tiny margin. Henry, wow, that was close. How brave was that?
Yeah, I don't know how I made that stick around the outside. I thought Dan was gonna, just get it over the line, but to be honest, I didn't know which line it was because there's 2 lines on the finish line. I thought it was the first one. I came second, so yeah, I was buzzing when I saw my name at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, thanks to Dan and everyone at the top for keeping it clean. That was really fun.
Now, from our point of view, what we were watching there, that is the best race that we've seen all season. It was just absolutely incredible, with all that fighting going on. Is that how you felt, or maybe there's a bit more mixed feelings in that one? I don't know.
Bit more stressful for me, but no, that was really fun.
Now, of course, we've got one more race coming up. Now, the reverse grid, it was almost 5. It was almost 5, but it just ticked over at the last moment. It's going to be 8 now, so good luck with that. Do you reckon, a win's on the cards, or are you just going to aim to maybe go and grab that 16th consecutive podium?
The goal is always the win, but we'll see how it goes. I'm obviously trying to get the podiums as well, but yeah, I'm trying to win.
Well, Henry, honestly, we'll let you go. Congratulations on yet another victory, the 10th one of the season, and by such a small margin as well. Incredible.
Thank you.
There we go, Henry Moore, another winner this season. But unfortunately, where there is a winner, there is someone finishing in 2nd position. Now, whilst they might have the absolute best sign in the world behind them, unfortunately, that sign did not point to victory. Dan, talk to us about that. Got to be a bit heartbroken there. Small mark, 5 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, it's just a classic Henry Moore beat you by whatever it is kind of situation. It's what he does, I suppose. It's a bit of a shame not to win that one. Led quite a lot of it. Felt I drove pretty well, and I don't think there was much more I could do there. And it was just an outright race to the line.
Now, again, I asked the question to Henry. He said he was quite stressed out in that race. How did you find it? Because, again, we absolutely loved it here.
That's always the target to make you guys love it. But
Nice.
I was pretty calm, to be honest. It was, I know there's nothing really at stake. I think now it's completely wrapped up in the championship, and everyone's just out there having a bit of fun now. Obviously, no one wants to crash, but I think there was some good, fair, and very hard racing out there, so I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, so obviously, second, basically, so, it is secured in the championship. You'll be racing in British Formula 4 Esports next season. So now it's literally just, let's go out there, let's try and end the season on high. Let's try and grab that final victory of the season, right?
Yeah, it was all about that now.
Perfect. Well, Dan, we'll see what you can do. You'll be starting from 7th position, so best of luck with that one, and we'll see what you can gain.
Cheers, Lewis.
There we go, Dan and more onto the podium once again. And of course, after a fantastic second position. Next one we're talking to is once again Jason Cooper, yet to take a victory in the Formula Fords. Maybe the next race is the time. Maybe that race was almost the time. You had to do a lot of work with that one, trying to get past Isaac Phelps on the last lap up into Hawthorne's Bend. That was brave.
Yeah, that was a bit of a crazy race. So many people so close together. Yeah, it was rather stressful. But yeah, just got Isaac on the last lap. And he almost had me back on the run to the line. It was very close. Not quite as close as Henry and Dan, but it was still pretty close.
This circuit seems to work so well for these cars. Why do you think that is? Is it the low power, low downforce, just how the slipstream works? I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite a fast flowing track. Quite a few straights to get a bit of slipstream. But yeah, it's really enjoyable in these cars.
What do you think you'll be grabbing from the next race? Do you think that victory is possible? Do you think you can go and sneak one in the last and at least end the season on one unreal high?
It is possible. It's just see what happens. There's quite a few guys that are all pretty quick and could all win. So we'll see who comes out on top.
Well, Jason, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed for you. Love to see a new winner in the championship to round out the season. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, cheers.
There we go, Jason Cooper. Of course, onto the podium once more, and again, showing unbelievable skill and consistency. Cam, again, we love a bit of British Formula 4, but of course, we've got to run you through how the format is once more, just to make you understand if you are joining us for the first time. Of course, you can see there on the left-hand side that we'll be starting with lone qualifying, 10 minutes long. Then we'll go into two 20-minute races, of course, the first of which will be from the qualifying grid. Then we'll do the Formula Fords, and then we'll come back towards the end of the broadcast about 9 o'clock local time to do the second race. You can see the prizes there, $8,500 of cash prizes, and the top 3 teams as well do get a full day in the base performance simulator as well. So pretty tidy when it comes to the prizes. You know the journey we've been on by now, and you've seen where we've been to. Of course, we've travelled all over the United Kingdom, and of course, bringing us here to West Kingsdown. And of course, it's been a fantastic run. We started the season here. We started the season at Brands Hatch. Of course, that was on the Indy course before travelling all over Donington Park, etc., etc. To Snetterton, to Alton Park again, that Silverstone round, which was pretty exciting, which is when Gordy Much really did fire things up in the championship race in the showdown to really take things down to this wire. Of course, then we went to Knockhill, and then we went to Donington. And here we are at Brands Hatch, one final round. And it does mean the top 2 in the standings are locked on points. After a penalty point for Gordy Much, he's now got 210. Luke McEwen, the series champion, on 210 as well. And not that far behind, looming in the background, is Pete Berryman, the top 3 in the title race when it comes to the drivers. There is, of course, the team championship where a lot of the prizes are handed out. And Stormforce ART way in control. I'm pretty sure it's all locked down for them as well as it is for the JHR by JHR by 29 Esports team as well. Williams Esports pretty much secured in third also. So the top 3 on the team side pretty much locked in. Dura Esports can absolutely take over fourth from Kimura, who of course missed Matt Caruana courtesy of the penalty that he got when we were racing at Alton Park. And to be fair, don't even round out Freem or Guild, who aren't that far behind, and they can absolutely sneak those positions. We're heading into qualifying, and once again we can take a little look around this fantastic circuit in West Kingsdown. Of course, we'll take a look this time on board with one of the Williams Esports drivers. I believe it might be Moreno Sirica into the final corner, and out through it he'll go, and of course up towards the line. Let's see what we can gather around this circuit and see how much faster it is, of course, on board with the Formula 4. We go along the Brabham Straight past the hospitality building on the left hand side, down the hill at Paddock, and of course all the way up once again into the heavy braking zone, of course, as they run into Druids. Now, this one, again, in the race, it takes a slightly different line. You take a slightly more narrowed line going into Druids, as you might do into Graham Hill Bend as well. So much speed you can take through here, running out wide. You can run out very far out of Graham Hill Bend as you head onto the Cooper Straight, but of course you won't necessarily pick up a 1x. You can use quite a lot of the circuit as we head through Surtees and then out onto the backstretch as we go down Pilgrim's Drop under the bridge, which takes you from the outside of the circuit to the inside as a spectator, and then rising up as we head into Hawthorns Hill, through Hawthorns Bend, and then down towards Westfield Bend, using as much of the circuit over the left-hand side as you can muster, especially as we drop down this fantastic sector at Dingledale. I think he's backed out of this lap time. We'll still see the speed he can roll through, going through Sheen Curve. You can definitely see he's definitely backed out, but you can hear him lifting off as well as we come into Stirlings. Trust me, when you're on board with a hot lap, it is so fast. Down towards Clearways and the Clark Curve, and then out to start a lap. Honestly, in these cars, Cam, it is an absolutely breathtaking ride.
Yeah, this is going to be quite something over the course of the 2 races that we're going to see for these guys tonight. As we're seeing Concoli, they're going to the front already, the first lap time on a 22, so 9 seconds a lap faster than the Formula Fords already, as we're into the 21s now. 21.1 there from Luke McEwen, of course, your reigning champion, tied up towards the front, and that's a good start on that first lap.
And again, he did start out the season in a bit of a struggle in the championship. He gets beaten by 69 thousandths of a second by Gordy Much, of course, looking for more victories, looking to try and end the season on the biggest high of highs by taking the victory in the championship. But by doing so, he has to beat the champion of last season. That is not going to be easy. Luke McEwen has really come back. And hey, let's be honest, there are drivers like Ted Bradbury, for example, drivers that are further down the championship that want to end the season on a high. And there is that kind of gusto, isn't it? You've got no pressure on your shoulders. You're just going out here to fight. That's all you want.
And that's, in some ways, is a nice position to be in. Of course, you want to be fighting for the championship, but if you're not, you still want to be in a position where you literally can go for every single opportunity. And I think that's been coming the way of Ted over the course of the last few rounds, really getting involved and up in the fights up towards the front. In the last 6 races, he's had 3 top 5 finishes. So definitely having a good second wind over the course of this season. As Sarika finally completes the lap, goes up into 3rd place.
Speaking of drivers who are having a good second win, Moreno Sarika's on that. I wonder if we can keep on board with Ted Bradbury as we head up towards going through Dingledale and then through Sheen Curve, because you can see how blind it is here. This is just about driver's height, completely blind, fully committed through the corner. Stanley Deslandis now moves up to the top of the times, and of course we do expect these times to get faster. Got a lot of understeer there heading through Stirlings. I think it's still just going to keep pushing it up towards the line, seeing what we can get.
Yeah, certainly. So, the sliding, massive slide there on the rear, coming through Clark, and that is onto the grass. And yeah, she says it's going to slow down the next lap as well. So that is going to be quite a big mistake potentially. Lucas Müller up into 8th place.
Don't worry, Cam. English is my first language as well.
Oh, it's difficult.
We can't speak. I've spent the entire day not being able to speak English. It's absolutely fine. Gordy Much then, our eye on him here as he heads round to start on that. I'm not sure if he's pushing super hard on this one. We do see this from the Apex camp generally, of course. Yes, but it's fine. From Sanders Landers, from Gordy Much, from Pete Berryman, from Luke McEwen, where they do this kind of thing. We've seen this fairly frequently from them, where they'll go out, they'll do a slow lap and then a fast lap and then a slow lap and then a fast lap, and that's generally how they do it. They don't just go fast. They just they're more tactical with their qualifying outings. That's why they've had 1, 2, 3, 4s quite a few times this season.
Yeah, certainly. They know the tyre pressure sort of situation, and they want to get the cars into that optimal window where they can have the tyres at their, well, especially when the gaps are so small. Even if you gain 0.5 of a second by doing a certain style of outlap, then you're going to be doing that. And talking of 0.5 of a second, that is pretty much what is covering the top 3 at the moment. A 10th for the top 4. And as having a look back to the Brands Indy, I know it's obviously half the circuit as such, but even there, the top 5 were within a 10th of a second. So it's a track that seems to bring some really close qualifying, and I'm glad that we're seeing that already here at the end of the season. Everyone's still pushing very, very hard to get those top results. Here is Gordy Much trying to get that pole position from his teammate.
Yeah, he's on the final lap, and of course, for him, he needs a bit of assistance potentially from Standard Islanders. Whilst Pete Berryman and Luke McEwen may fight between each other, I mean, to be fair, Pete Berryman's got a bit of an uphill struggle here. He's 25 points behind in the championship, and there's only 52 up for grabs over the round today. He needs to have an absolutely mega round and hope for some shockers for Gordy Much and Luke McEwen. So I wonder if Berryman might be on assistance watch. But Standard Islanders is definitely not fighting for anything in the championship. He is here really just to assist Gordy Much. And again, we have been told, whilst we know all these essentially come from the same camp, they have been told, you are fighting for this championship. You will fight for this championship. They've been given the green light to absolutely go for it, which, to be perfectly honest, give a big round of applause for that, because we love to see it. We want to see these drivers fighting as hard as they can for the title. That's what they want here.
Oh, definitely, and it's a great track to do that as well. So I think the fighting today that we're going to see is going to be insane, as DeSantis up towards the front, does 20.8, goes up towards the front, although he's beaten momentarily Pete Berryman going up towards the front, but actually DeSantis does beat him by over a tenth of a second in the end. Here comes Gordy Much, though, to the line, and I think, that's going to be second place, not being able to get that pole position.
Yeah, but still, everything kind of returns the way that it was at the start of the laps. And to be fair, that being the last laps for them, it will potentially be Standard Islanders starting this one from pole position. See if anyone else has got anything else to take from it. But right now, things are looking to go the way of Stanley Deslandis, looking for his second pole position in British Formula 4 Esports. Of course, he did have that one back in Knock Hill. I believe it's his second one anyway. He's definitely not had one this season, has he?
Oh, that is. So I need to check on the stats.
You've got a bigger screen than me, mate. You can do the old picking through it now.
No, he hasn't. Best qualifying's third back at Alton Park. He's had quite a few inside the top four though, but not pole position.
Yeah, there we go. Big screen cam, trying to work through the stats. I have printed them out, but I've not been home, so they're all around out of date. But yes, absolutely incredible. So Stanley Deslandis looking to finish this one on pole position, finish the season on a high, as is everyone else. We look at Sergio Fitzpatrick go round the circuit in what has been, I would classify it as a fairly difficult season for the Prismatic team. They've just had a couple of struggles, and there is once again a view as to why this circuit bites so hard. You dip two wheels on the grass as you head your way through Stirlings, and you see exactly what it does. It's an aggressive circuit. It's a classic circuit. It's why drivers love this place so much.
It's an amazing, venue. It hasn't been riddled with the modern sort of overly massive safety runoffs and all that sort of stuff, and that's kept that heritage. You've seen here when the drivers go off just a little bit like that, just by a couple of inches, getting that sort of left-hand wheels into the grass, it just pulls you around, and it's a really demanding circuit for that. And especially as all the corners here are medium to high speed, you really have to be pushing the limits, and that is why we love coming back to this track. And to be honest, one of the reasons why we're coming here twice over the course of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I've done this layout so many times in my sim racing career. You know me doing British touring car style stuff frequently. I think I've only ever won here like 2 or 3 times. It's a tricky track. That, to be fair, that's not really a high standard, so who knows? Starting from pole position, then in the final race or the final round of the season, it is Stanley Deslandis and Gordy Much. JHR by 29 Esports locking out the front row. Pete Berryman and Luke McEwen, the series champion, locked in points at the top of the title race. We'll start this one from 4th position before Moreno Sarica, who's on an absolute blast at the end of this championship. Matt Emery will start this one from 6th place for the Veloce Vex team. Tamas Simon, his teammate, will start from 7th position with Remy Gilbert, who's had wins this season. We'll start this race from 8th position before we get to Josh Ladd, runner-up in the title race last season. Not going to do so now. Lucas Muller starting from inside the top 10 before we get to Jonas Wanner and Ryan McAuliffe down in 12th place. Brandon Abrams and Elliot Pugh before we get to Manuel Biancalilla, Harley Horton and Alexander Davidson. Harley Horton's teammate will start from 17th position, 1 position behind James Armstrong, Freem UK, a team that does have the chance of going after higher positions in the championship. They can grab 4th, but they need some good races. He'll be starting from 18th position on the grid. Of course, as we roll our way down, you can see Tobias Olsen, Sergio Fitzpatrick, Rachel Konkoli, Isaac Iverson, of course, Freddie Ingram, who's had some splashes of good results since joining the championship halfway. We had Carl Chase, Ted Bradbury, Duncan Hoffland and Josh Poulain starting from the rear of the field. Some struggles in qualifying from Bradbury and Hoffland, not getting some decent lap times onto the books. Cam, who's winning this race? Go quickly.
I have absolutely no idea, but I'm going to say Berryman.
Pete Berryman. Wow. I'm going to say Gordy Much. I think Much is going to put the pressure on our series champion. And we'll have to see it come down to the wire. Either way, we're going to have a barnstorming race here. Of course, the penultimate race of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship in partnership with Wave Italy. We're about to get underway. Standing as Landis from pole position for JHR by 29 Esports. And Gordy Much's teammate battling for the title starts his way alongside. Instantly, they race their way down towards Paddock Hill and trying to get straight through on his teammate. Gordy Much was trying to work his way through the race lead, but I think by fighting he might have opened the door for Pete Berryman to get down the inside. Couple of looks as they head their way up towards Druids. Any contact as they work their way through the top four come through safe, despite Moreno Sarika giving it a good look into the second corner. There's big drama in the background.
Yeah, couldn't quite see, but there's 3-4 cars all going off on the exit of Druids, and that has not been the way that they would have wanted to start the penultimate race of the season. Is all clean up towards the front, though, as they have the top four starting to run away. But then, of course, we have Sarika in behind, and then the 2 for Lotche Vexed.
Yeah, we'll see if there's going to be a move here. There's more drama. Oh, that's an enormous crash. I think that's Brandon Abrahams, Manuel Bianca, Carl Chase, all involved in that. No switches up towards the race lead. Isaac Arberton and Josh Poulain, by the way, they were 2 that got really caught up in that second corner incident. And so they've dropped right the way down the order. I believe we've got 5 drivers already returned to pit lane, being Manuel Bianca, Rachel Concoli, Isaac Arberton, Carl Chase and Josh Poulain. And hey, chuck Brandon Abrahams into the mix. It's been a dramatic first lap here in the penultimate race of the championship.
Oh, that was so tight in that first sort of sector of the lap, and all the drivers trying to fight for the position. I'm sure we'll be able to see in a few minutes how that one worked out. But towards the front as it stands, this is some championship rivals, of course. Much, Berryman, McEwen, all inside the top 4, being slipstreamed along by Deslandis, who's there, as you say, really sort of to help his teammate in this battle just by being there, trying to take some points away from Berryman and McEwen. Remember, Berryman 25 points off. He really needs to start getting some points, and that will include getting this overtake done on Much.
Well, I mean, yeah, but look at Stanley Deslandis' results this season. You know, he's had 3 podiums. They were all back to back from the second race at Snetterton and then both races at Alton Park. And was the only time we've had conversation with him this season. He's had a whole host of retirements. He's had 5 retirements this season. He's been outside of the points on 4 other occasions. He's only been in the points 2 other occasions. It's been not a great season from Stanley Deslandis, but it's kind of, some of it's just not through much of his own fault. He's been kind of wrong place, wrong time so many times. We know he's got the pace to be up here because he's qualified for or inside the top 4 quite a few times this season.
Yeah, he's absolutely deserving to be in this position, and you can see why, as he's got sort of the 4 friends, let's call them, up towards the front, and they are just showing the pace that they have. And this is not going to be a nice free play in towards Druids on the opening lap. 3 wide. There's the thing, that was Arvidsson getting involved. There's Ted Bradbury on the inside. The 2 prismatic cars getting involved as well. That's not a nice one.
Yeah, so we're on board with Bradbury here. So you can see he's kind of... that one to me, I don't know how you feel, it's almost a little bit racing instantly. Bradbury's already committed to that line, he's already committed to his braking zone, he's already committed to it, and then Isaac Arberton comes straight back in to a line that he's kind of entitled to, but not really. For anything, I'd almost lean a little bit more to Isaac Arberton, but I don't know how you feel.
To one side, I tend to agree with that as well. I don't think there's too much you could have done on the insider. Let's see this from a bit of a wider angle. Absolutely fine at this moment in time, and then just getting a huge whack from the rear right.
Nothing, absolutely nothing Rachel Concoli could do there. Big shame there for the Prismatic team. And like I say, not the way you want to end the season. Just huge drama in all of this. There you go, spinning around. You had Manuel Biancalilli, you had Josh Poulain getting involved in it. This was the other one as we were heading around. This is another one with Manuel Biancalilli who dropped back. It was Carl Chase's Brandon Abrahams getting into contact as they were heading their way out. Oh, it's a big send.
Yeah, that is a difficult place to go side by side. And unfortunately, once contact was made, spinning across the track, and Biancalilli having absolutely nowhere to go. But up towards the front, there has been some changes during the replays, and it looks like Pete Berryman has got up into second place, ahead of Deslandis, actually, who's jumped down into third. Gordy Much leads the race.
There was side by side between the 2 JHR by 29 Esports cars, and then around the outside of Westfield Bend, and of course, just following him straight through. Again, brilliant stuff there from Pete Berryman. A wild move to the inside. Stanley Deslandis just dropping back then to third position, and Gordy Much up to the race lead. Well, maybe let's see about that as Pete Berryman is having to deal with the attack of Stanley Deslandis as they head their way towards Druids. Very close indeed as we return to live pictures.
And in the background as well, Sarika's having to try and defend. Matt Emery coming around the outside, at least trying to. And that is a very difficult situation. Slow exit though from Sarika, and once again coming up down the Cooper Straight in towards That's going to be a very tricky corner, but it looks like Sarika just about able to hold on to that. But this is a very tricky one up towards the front. Bit of a wiggle there as well from Emery, because it's 7 cars battling, and that can always cause carnage.
Yeah, and again, this has been an absolute staple of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship this season. I'd say Donington Park really showed this off there when we did the Grand Prix layout just a week ago. Absolutely incredible racing around here there, and I get the feeling we might start to do the same thing around here, but for me, the average speed around here might be slightly too high for this that kind of style of aggressive racing. It works in the Formula Fords. In these, though, it might just be a little bit too fast. You can see Stanley Deslandis bottom right of your screen. To the left of him is Pete Berryman, who currently runs in second position of the race. These two fighting themselves. You can tell by the blue light. Yes, they might be representing Apex, but trust me, that don't matter today. They are fighting as hard as they possibly can. Stanley Deslandis trying to keep Berryman off for the back of Gordy Much. It's going to be a tough one, though.
Oh, bit of contact, I think, through the Apex airs. There's a huge wiggle. Here comes Luke McEwen up to second place. Easy free 2 positions for him. And Sarika as well dives it on Deslandis. As huge contact. There goes your pole position driver.
Stanley Deslandis getting squeezed out once more, just contact between himself and Moreno Sarika, and that is what we've seen so many times with Stan this season, where he's had the pace, maybe wrong place, wrong time, maybe not had the mentality, not playing the long game. Did he need to go for that move around the outside at T1? That's what set up, of course, Luke McEwen to come through. Who knows? Has he done anything wrong? Really no, but it is what it is. Luke McEwen then into second position. Of course, the 2 Stormforce ART cars, they've got the title wrapped up. They already have the team's championship done. It is all about drivers and the top 3 in the championship running 1, 2 and 3.
Oh, this is going to be a tougher replay to watch for Stanley. Here he is currently in that 3rd position. Here's Luke McEwen in the number 1 machine. He's going to go to the left-hand side. Then once there's that little bit of contact between the two, he's going to dive up the inside. And yeah, Pete Berryman, we'd love to see that again. Was there a bit of him sliding that rear end? As Sarika did dive up the inside there, didn't he? And that is what caused that further contact. But yeah, Berryman, very interesting wiggle there in turn 1. Yeah, definitely like to see that one.
Yeah, he had a big slide, an absolutely big slide, proper tank slapper, and Stan was in just the wrong place, wrong time. And I think when he was trying to go around the outside of Moreno Sarika, I think there was just a touch of air between the pair of them, which is what sent Stan out wide. We'll see once more this attempt. So straight around the outside, you can watch on the inside, you can see it there. Just an enormous slide, and he tried catching it once more. That was what allowed McEwen to come through, but Berryman with the big moment, it's actually cost Stanley Deslandis quite a bit in this race. I think the real tyres actually made contact, to be fair.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, huge contact there for Deslandis, just going down the field even more as we come back to this battle. This is carnage. There is Deslandis actually on the back of his. That's 6-way train coming down. No, it is 6 coming down the back straight. That is very tricky indeed. We've got Sarika at the front of it, Gilbert in second place, and then Emery coming up behind. A huge dive up the inside there is going to be from Remy Gilbert. Sarika's going to be struggling to defend from that one. On the outside, 3 wide. We're trying to make it with Matt Emery.
Yeah, this is close. This is really close indeed. Once again, side by side as they head their way up through the Sheen curve. On board with Matt Emery, Moreno Sarika over on the left-hand side as they work their way through. Of course, all of these battling over 4th position. Remy Gilbert, the one that's hanging on to it now, who did, of course, have victory in the first round of the season when we went racing at Brands. That was, of course, on the Indy, had it in the reverse grid race. It was absolutely fantastic. Showing some great speed as Guild Racing really, or Guild Esports rather, really focus on their sim racing side of things. We ride on board with Matt Emery trying to look for a way through. There is someone working through on him. It's Josh Ladd, of course, knocking at the door.
Yeah, lads, he's had a bit of a quiet race so far, but he's slid up the inside, and also a teammate, as that is 2 moves in 2 corners. Don't always see that around here, but they were very clean moves. Very nice between the Williams drivers, as that is Ladd up into the top 5, and that is working out to actually be a pretty good race for him so far. In the background, of course, we've got Emery, and then Jonas Vanna is just on the back of that one onto this straight, as all this batting has let Remy Gilbert get up the way.
There is quite a lot of damage on Moreno Sarika's wing. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of damage. I think that is definitely giving him a lot more understeer. He's working his way through. That's why Josh Ladd's worked his way back past. Here's Stanley Deslandis, who I think will be wanting to have a little bit of words with Moreno Sarika rather than this being like, okay, lad, what was that contact about? Of course, yeah, whilst you're in the cockpit, even if there was a neck or anything like that, you have absolutely no idea. You're just in the race. Here comes Stanley Deslandis with an absolutely unreal set. There's a proper rage of contact between the pair of them once more. That was not the place to go for the look going into Sheen Curve. But once again, they'll give it a good go as Jonas Wanner and Matt Emery switch positions in the background.
That is absolutely incredible. I thought the 77 was going to be having a big pirouette there, but they managed to continue racing. So 10 minutes to go in this race, and this is like it's the final lap of the race. Onto this front straight, 3 wide. We're going to go through the middle. Is Matt Emery. Can he get that double overtake? Round the outside is going to be for now Paddock Hill Bend, as this is getting a little bit tense, a little bit carnage between all of them. Up towards Druids is now still standing to Landis there, trying to hold that way. Round the outside is going to continue to be for Matt Emery.
It feels like low IQ attempts, high IQ car control at the moment. This is wild racing, absolutely incredible. Standing as Landers now into 6th position. Matt Emery, Moreno Sarica, who I think with that wing damage may be on a one-way trip back down the order and is going to struggle to work his way back past anyone. You saw a bit of a look down the inside from Armstrong there on Alexander Davidson for 11th position, just outside the points, but still as Ryan McAuliffe hangs on to the final position inside the points. Bit of a look here from Jonas Wanner trying to get past Moreno Sarica going into Hawthorne's Bend. That one was easy as you like as Dura Esports working their way through. And look at that, Ryan McAuliffe in the background defending from Alexander Davidson as well.
So many drivers in this train. The battles you have around here really slow you down, and it just brings in everyone behind you. They just close up coming in at full speed when you're losing a few tenths with the battles, and around here seems to be very, very important. If you look back up towards the front, much leading from McEwen and Berryman, of course, and this is your championship fight, equal on points coming in. This is the penultimate race of the season, and now to the outside McEwen goes. He knows he needs to beat Much in some way to get more points than him over the course of the 2 races. This might be the move up into Druids.
Once again, these two locked on points at the top of the championship, 210 apiece as Luke McEwen's trying to get around the outside of Gordy Much. Gordy Much slams the door shut, says absolutely not there. Of course, Gordy Much had 3 victories on the bounce before we went into Donington Park, and then had that struggle in qualifying, worked his way back up the order brilliantly. Of course, yes, he lost ground in the championship, but still, he is absolutely hammering as hard as he can to take this championship. It is the top 2 going toe-to-toe here. The defensive line from Gordy Much. Luke McEwen backs out of this one. He doesn't want to try Hawthorne's.
So yeah, difficult place to make the overtake, but what we can do is get a bit of a run like he has up towards the next one at Westfield, and what we can do now is slow down your rival as he did with Gordy Much. Can he get the run up towards Sheens though, as he's covered off though from the Scottish driver up towards the inside now of Sheens, and that is a huge step over the curve as McEwen's doing everything he can to try and get the run, but Much is keeping it on the racing line for now through Sterling's, and that is the way you get the most momentum. He actually looks pretty calm, both of them look pretty calm. Now coming through Clark corner on to the start-finish straight. Is there going to be a run this time? McEwen is getting there just slowly, but slowly. Much covers him off though.
He's got to go to the outside here at Paddock Hill. He's definitely going to try for it. At the moment, I think whoever leads onto the final lap of the race is, or into the final corner anyway, is definitely going to take the victory. They seem to have the run out through the final corner, at least what we've seen from Gordy Much. Remember, the 2 of those, first and second of the race, they both have 4 wins apiece in British Formula 4 this season. The record was 4 last season, set of course by Luke McEwen on his way to the title race. So this would be a record-breaking most victories in one season. Hey, I don't think they care about that one bit. They are after the title, and it is a brutal battle here in West Kingsdown to see who is going to take the title. Gordy Much by 0.2 of a second. The top 3 separated by half a second.
And not only are they tied on 4 races apiece, they're also tied on 3 second places apiece as well, and then 2 and 3 third places. So they're almost equal entirely over the course of their podium finishes. It's pretty incredible, but that just shows you how close they are in this championship, and that's why they are tied on the points coming into these penultimate races. The final 2 of the season, there's just 6.5 minutes to go, but Much is looking strong. He's had 3 wins out of the last 5 races, and he's really coming in clutch, but Luke McEwen finished second in all of those 3 victories for Gordy Much. So McEwen is also on fire, and he's now just trying to find that way to get through on the JHR driver.
And speaking of record-breaking, this would be a record-breaking 8th consecutive podium from Luke McEwen, showing how strong he's been in the second half of this season as he tries to look around the outside of Gordy Much, going for the up and under here at Druids. This could be the race victory. This could be the race lead at the very minimum. 6 minutes left to go, and Luke McEwen playing his cards as well as he can to the inside as he goes through Druids. Little bit of racing around the outside. Gordy Much is going to try and leap it down the inside going into Graham Hill Bend. The pair of them remain side by side. Let's see what Pete Berryman could do in the number 50 as well. He's obviously getting straight into the slipstream of his teammate. Luke McEwen into the race lead with 5 and a bit minutes left to go. Gordy Much has to settle for second for now.
And this is crucial that if he obviously loses this space to McEwen, he can't let Pete Berryman get through and then lose further points to McEwen. Of course, Berryman is quite far back in the championship realistically. He's to the outside. He's going to go up towards Hawthorns. How much does he want to risk it? He's going to have to hold it on that outside line. Pete Berryman might get the run up towards Westfield side by side. The contenders go in towards that very corner, and it is Berryman with the run up towards Sheen.
Yeah, here comes Berryman straight down the inside. Remember, all these lot are racing from the same facility at the moment as Pete Berryman makes it a Stormforce ART 1-2 here at Brands Hatch. Unbelievable stuff as McEwen, Berryman, and now Much moves back down the order. This would be a big swing in the title. It would give Luke McEwen a 10-point lead heading into the final race, dependent on bonus point and who has the fastest lap. And I'll tell you something, Gordy Much has had 5 of those this season, so he might be gunning for the fastest lap here to make it only a 9-point deficit, but he must try and grab second position here at the absolute minimum.
This is such a difficult position for him to be in now, to try and work through both of the teammates up ahead for Stormforce ART, and that's the reason why they're going to be winning the Constructors' Championship as well. But what can Much do is, this is certainly not going to be the easiest 2 overtakes, but we've seen especially at the previous round at Donington and the one before that at Knockhill, he knows how to get through multiple drivers at the same time. He just needs to get the run. He's lost a bit of momentum over the course of that last lap, and now needs to try and look forward once more. But does Pete Berryman actually go for the race victory himself? Because if they start battling, then that's going to slow them down and bring Much back into it.
Yeah, again, incredible scenes between this group of drivers. As we've said so many times before this season, we were talking about drop scores in the Formula Fords. There are no drop scores in British Formula 4. These are supposed to be the best drivers in sim racing. You know, some up there with some of the best drivers in sim racing and showing exactly what they want. That means we have to have consistency. You can see Luke McEwen there in the bottom right, who's had quite a transition this season. He's leading the race. He's obviously leading the championship now if things continue as they run. But he has moved into the Apex Racing facility, into the Apex Racing household, which has been a bit of a change for him, no longer racing from home, which we saw him starting the season as. So it's been quite a transitional season for him. Now has to defend from Pete Berryman, his teammate, who, to be fair, he is still fighting for the championship himself. You know, a race victory here could be very important for Pete. Do you reckon he's going to be a rear gunner here?
Oh, this has a bit of a luck up there, definitely pushing the limits. Yeah, Pete Berryman's not sitting in behind. I really cannot see that happening, especially since he's got Gordy Much behind. He can't really just sit and back off. He needs to start pushing, and to be honest, for his own sake, if he wants to have any sort of hopes in the championship, remember the prize money comes with that, he'll be wanting to get more of that himself. Does the number 50 machine, as they come out onto this back straight, he's getting the run, he's getting the slipstream. Is he going to go to the left-hand side? Yes, he is, around the outside. This might open the door to Gordy Much unless he can hold on to it.
Pete Berryman absolutely has to beat Luke McEwen and Gordy Much. If he is behind either of them going into the next race, the championship's over for him. He will be out of the championship. The gap between himself and the championship leader by that point will be more than 25 points. It is currently 25 points, so he cannot afford to lose any ground to either one of these two. He must, if he wants the title race to continue for him, at least down to the wire, he must win this race. That is a lot of pressure for you. With 2 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock, it means we're going to get a couple more laps around here at Brands Hatch to see who's going to go into the final race of the championship leader and who is going to be, how many people we have in that championship fight, whether it's going to be 2 or 3.
I thought it was Much going to be sending up the inside, but it also would be a 4th win of the season for Berryman, which would put all 3 of these drivers on 4 wins apiece, which is incredible to see just how consistently fast they are over the course of the season, all taking wins off each other, and that is why we have this championship fight. But yes, you're right. Are we going to be going down to 2 drivers left in the race for the championship? We have just those couple of laps to find out. McEwen is doing such a good job in the second half of the season. He's really starting to come back, and he's looking very strong, very calm, as the top 3 haven't really changed position over the last couple of laps. Is this set in stone, or is Gordy Much going to just find a way to try and break up that Stormforce ART 1-2?
I'm going to say here, I don't think Pete Berryman's fighting to try and get past Luke McEwen. I'm thinking he's pretty set on being the rear gunner here. Of course, we will find out in the interviews post-race when we catch up with the top 3 in this one once more, and we'll see exactly what the mentality has been between this grouping and to see whether this was all part of the plan for the Stormforce ART bunch, or whether there was maybe a little bit more going on. Gordy Much trying to find any way through. Final lap beginning. Let's see what's going to happen. McEwen, Berryman, and much the top three. The defensive line coming in from McEwen as they head their way down into Paddock Hill Bend. Let's see if Pete Berryman can find, if he is going to find any way through.
Oh, up the inside it's going to be, though, for the number 50. Is that going to be the race lead? Gordy Much might try and follow him through as well. The two teammates go side by side through Druids, almost making contact. And now down towards this next corner, the number 1 of Luke McEwen's going to send it back up the inside. And this is so close for the top 3.
Take everything I said about maybe they won't, maybe he's going to be a rear gunner, throw it straight into the bin. Pete Berryman ain't no rear gunner for no one, son, as he tries to send it around the outside. We're going to have a 3-wide almost run here down towards Hawthorns. It's Pete Berryman now up to the race lead. Luke McEwen might get hung out to dry here. This could cost his teammate points for the championship. The top 3 in the title race, 1, 2 and 3 in this race, as Pete Berryman takes over the lead.
Oh, this is so close to Gordy Much. He's trying to work his way through. Can he get past his championship rival and actually take points off Luke McEwen? Up towards Sheen Corner, the 3 continue to be pretty much side by side. Much actually backs out of that a little bit, but the number 1 machine goes wide.
Luke McEwen going out wide there as they come through the penultimate corner and race their way down towards the last. Hey, Josh Ladd's now knocking at the door for a sneaky podium as well. I think there might be a defensive line coming in there from Gordy Much. And Pete Berryman, your pick for the race cam, proving the commentator's curse is total rubbish. Pete Berryman will take an unbelievable victory and will move himself into championship contention, taking it down to the wire. We have 3 drivers fighting for the championship. It is Berryman on top for the 4th time this season. Luke McEwen and Gordy Much, your top 3 in the race, and the 3 taking it down to the last in the most incredible fashion.
I absolutely love the fact that these drivers who, as we've been saying the whole season, effectively racing under the same umbrella in the grand scheme of things, but in this championship, they're fighting for themselves, and they're absolutely proving that on the track, and we love that. The respect between them as well, but it's just such hard racing. They're giving, millimeters of space, and that is it. It's awesome, the season that we are having, and the fact that we have 3 drivers mathematically involved coming into the final race of the season is absolutely amazing.
You know what time it is, Cam. It is spinny wheel o'clock. Of course, we landed on 8 in the Formula Fords. What are we going to land here for British Formula 4? It will be numbers between 5 and 10. Oh, no, just keep going. Just keep going. Give me 10 for the final race. It's going to stop at 6, and I think it's not going to make its way over to 10, which means that guess who's going to start from reverse grid pole? Yeah, it's Stanley Deslandis. He had pole position legit earlier on today. Stanley Deslandis will start from reverse grid pole from P1 in both races here at Brands Hatch, looking for victory. But he's starting alongside Remy Gilbert, who has got a victory, of course, this season. It means the top 3 in the championship will be starting from 4th, 5th and 6th. And it'll be Pete Berryman starting from that 6th position after a very well-deserved victory. 1 and a bit tenths of a second separate 1st through 4th. Look at how close these gaps are. Honestly, it's incredible. That's actually qualifying, so never mind on that one. Pete Berryman, honestly, to be fair, I wasn't shocked by any of those gaps. It's the top 4 separated by a second, rather. And, of course, Matt Emery being within that 2-second margin. So it's Pete Berryman, Luke McEwen, Gordy Much, Josh Ladd, Remy Gilbert and Stanley Deslandis, the 6 drivers that will switch around before we get to Matt Emery, who will be starting from 7th in the next race. Jonas Wanner, James Armstrong and Ryan McAuliffe. Luke McEwen, by the way, the old cheeky BT Dubs, takes the bonus point for fast laps, so pulls a 4-point margin on Gordy Much, taking it down to the last, and of course drags himself a little bit closer in the gap that he would have lost to Pete Berryman. Moreno Sarica outside of the points in that 11th position as we let things roll their way down the order. Ted Bradbury, Duncan Hoffland, Tobias Olsen, Sergio Fitzpatrick, Harley Horton, of course, before we get to Freddie Ingram, Alexander Davidson and Tamas Simon. The rest of the drivers, retirements, and most of those coming early on. Lucas Muller, 20th position and retiring from the race, and then literally everyone else taken out in calamities at various points. Rachel Concoli being taken out a few laps left to go in the race, or was able to carry on rather, and then everyone else, Brandon Abrahams, Elliot Pugh, Manuel Biancalilla, Isaac Arvidsson, Carl Chase, Josh Poulin, in instance at turn 2 and turn 4, all basically got removed from contention. Very very dramatic indeed. Very nervy times and very tense, that is for sure. But of course, you know what we should do. We should have a little chin wag with our race winner that will be extremely sweet. Of course, it's Pete Berryman. I was chatting through that race, I think some total rubbish about how you might have been a rear gunner for your teammate or anything like that. Nah. That final lap absolutely proved it. Incredible.
Yeah, stressful race. Yeah, I got a bit worried. Obviously, I got a bit kicked out in T1 there. I think Stam touched the rear. Obviously, nothing on purpose, of course, but I got a bit worried that I got stuck behind the guys. I got stuck in this weird sort of zone of I want to move forward, but obviously the two guys ahead of me are fighting for the championship, so I don't really want to, send it up the inside and really ruin their race. So yeah, I waited for the opportunities, and if they came, I just had to try and be in the best place to take them. And yeah, they came, and yeah, a big win. I needed to win that to take it to the second race. So yeah, it was huge.
Do you truly believe that you can win this championship? We know you've got the speed, and we know what this championship's like. There can be instances for the other two, and you can work your way through the order. Do you really believe that's the case?
I mean, let's not be silly here. Like the chances of me, winning on pure pace here, it's just not going to happen. I need issues for the other two, but yeah, I just have to take the opportunities that come my way. Winning in race one, or at least beating the two guys behind me, was the first step, and then I've just got to race as far to the front as I can this race and see what happens.
Well, it'll appear that Standard has landed his back on reverse grid pole, classic. Of course, having pole position in the main race, and now the reverse grid, so it'll be the number of 6. I mean, that's where you're going to start from this race. How do you feel about that? Of course, it's not that far down the order, and you know what Brands Hatch is like. You can absolutely win from there.
Yeah, nothing to lose. Like I say, obviously the other two guys have lots on their plate that they are trying to protect. Obviously, if they have a crash, it's over. If I crash, I'm finishing third anyway. So yeah, pressure's on those guys. I can just enjoy this race and do the best I can.
Well, Pete, mate, best of luck in the next one. We'll see what you can do. And hey, maybe you might sneak something very special for us a bit later on.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks, guys.
Pete Berry, and then victorious in this one. Of course, as we work our way down, we'll catch up with Luke McEwen now, who again, after an incredible race and what could only be described as probably one of the most intense battles that you can have in the world of sim racing. How is your heart after that? That looked crazy, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, my heart rate was definitely quite high for most of that race. Obviously, it started out with not so great qualifying, and I just didn't really hook up the lap. It was just basically average everywhere. So that was a bit annoying. But yeah, Stan put on a mega lap, to be fair. So good job from him. Then I just sat in fourth. I wasn't getting much pressure from behind from Moreno, so that was quite nice. I could just sit and pick my moment to try and make my moves. And fortunately for me, Pete and Stan had a bit of an incident with each other, and I managed to get both of them. So that was kind of perfect. And then yeah, I just had to try and pick up Gordy, which I managed. But then yeah, Pete came back at the end, and yeah, it's just a really good race, really good clean race through with all of us. Obviously, we're all fighting for the championship, so we all want to win, but we also don't want to crash into each other. So it's just a really hard position. But yeah, good race overall.
Now, of course, you this means that you do take over the championship lead legit. Of course, it'll be by 4 points, courtesy of you setting the fastest lap as well. What's the game plan going into the last race?
Just try and beat Gordy, I guess. If I finish in front of him, there's no maths that needs to be involved with if he's going to beat me or not. So yeah, just stay out of trouble at the start, and then just see how it goes, basically. Yeah, I never know what's going to happen in these races, so yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Now, as it is the title decider, I'm not going to ask you another question. I'm going to let you breathe. I'm going to let you have a little bit of a calm one, a calm build up. Best of luck for our season finale.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
There we go. Luke McEwen. Title, of course, last season, gathered from him. Let's see if he can go and grab another one. But to do so, he'll have to beat Mr. Gordy Much, fresh with a tash, of course, as always. But of course, maybe a little disappointed after that race, finishing down in third position. Of course, back on the podium after that disappointment back in Donington Park in the second race. Still got to feel pretty sweet, but maybe a little bit devastated with how things unfolded there from the front row.
I mean, I think I'd be a lot more disappointed if I felt that I could have done more. But I held the lead for a long time, in that run. I don't feel like there's much more I could have really done. So P3 though, Pete won that, so that brings him a little bit more into the picture. I'm only, I finished right behind Luke, so for me and Luke, it's really, really wide open. Pete's on the scene now as well. He's a bit tighter coming into this last race, so it all comes down to this. I would have liked to have been 1 or 2 positions higher, but yeah, reverse grid will be interesting. It always proves for some extra carnage. Hopefully we all have a good clean race and we all have a good clean fight for this title though.
Well, Stan's back on pole, at least. So the number is 6 for that reverse grid. Now, I kind of want to ask very quickly on a topic which probably most of our viewers have absolutely no idea, which is when you're battling for a championship, when you're involved in a championship like this, you've got a reverse grid in that final race. Where is your head? Like, how do you kind of deal with the pressure, with the stress, and the weight that goes with it?
You definitely need a little bit of a different approach for the reverse grid races, because you're kind of into the mix with people that you don't race with as often. Of course, Pete, Luke, Stanley. We've been kind of up at the front all season. Josh Ladd, I mean, I think he should have been, much further up the grid for a lot, but unfortunately he's been really, really unlucky. But we fought with him at Brands and stuff. Like, you get used to fighting certain people. So in the reverse grid races, you're kind of fighting people that you haven't fought before. So you do need to give a little bit of extra room, and you do need to plan out the overtakes a little bit more, just because you don't know, if they're more likely to turn in a bit more, if they're more likely to squeeze you, how aggressive they are. So it's a more cautious approach, but you do have to make the most out of it as well, because I think that the reverse grid races are arguably kind of where most of your points are made in an event.
Now, Gordy, I will, again, I'm going to let you have a breather. I'm not going to ask you too much more, don't worry. But I do have one question, which is, if you do win the championship, are you going to keep the Tash? You kind of have to, right?
I'm not too sure.
You kind of have to. You absolutely have to.
I'm not
Good luck,
sure.
charm.
I'm not sure if my missus will let me, to be honest, mate. We'll need to see.
Cross that bridge when
I
we get
said
to
I'd
it.
keep it for November, but I think I don't know. I don't think I suit it that well.
Oh, no, it looks great on you, mate. It looks great.
I think you're very kind. Yeah, but I think because what is it? I think in 2 days' time it will be gone, unfortunately. But it will be back. It will be back next year.
Well, Gordy, again, good luck for the next race. We're going to bail and go back to Formula Fords.
All right, cheers, guys.
Cool. There we go. That's that all dealt with. Cam, it is Formula Ford o'clock, and of course, it is that battle for the championship. That's all set. There's none of that happening in here. We are all talking about this race for the final victory.
Yeah, we certainly are. We've had 2 awesome races to start this evening. Brands Hatch is going to be, amazing. So let's just see how this one is going to go. We have, of course, had Henry Moore, though, for 6 wins in a row. So let's see if he can take another one. But it's going to be a little bit more difficult with this reverse grid. And from what we saw with the racing, it's going to be absolute chaos and probably coming down to that final corner once more.
Yep, indeed. Of course, we have already had the reverse grid. We were wondering if it was going to be 5. It did tick over to 8 at the last minute as well. And with that grid, we will take a little look down it. Of course, going very quick, it'll be Lee Britton starting this one from pole position. Connor skid out alongside on the front row. Jack Badger and Ronnie Smith on row 2 with Isaac Phelps and Jason Cooper looking for that first victory of the season, starting from 6th position. Dana Moore and Henry Moore separate by 5,000 of a second in the previous race. See what they could do in here. Martin Filk and, of course, Ed Hope will start inside the top 10. We'll let the final couple of pages roll their way through. Cam, do we expect another 5,000 of a second between our top 2 in the race?
Maybe not 5,000s, but I'm going to say about 1/10 of a second again.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close. And to be fair, there would be absolutely no other way we would want to end the Formula Ford. It's been an incredible season that has basically been won by Henry Moore. He's absolutely dominated it. We have one final race to deal with here in the Formula Fords before we head back to that season finale and the gripping action in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. We've got 15 minutes onto the clock, and for one final time, let's get racing in the Formula Fords and see who's going to take the race victory. It's Lee Britton starting from the reverse grid pole. Connor Scudeau with a good launcher in second position, looking to the inside as they head their way through the first corner. Plenty of dives in the back. I think it might have been Dana Moore on the inside of Jason Cooper, who's given it a go into Paddock Hill and might have opened up the opportunity for Henry Moore to sneak his way through. Race lead then, Lee Britton. Connor Scudeau going for the up and under as they head through Druid. It's going to be a drag race between the pair of those down towards Graham Hill Bend.
It certainly is, and that is going to be a big set up the inside. They're going to be pushing each other wide. Here comes the run from Ronnie Smith. Can he get the lead? At least second place is going to be up towards 30s. Maybe a huge dive actually from third to first. This is going to be up the inside. He'll have the run onto the back straight as Jack Badger tries to get up into that second place too.
Yeah, Connor Scudeau dropping down the order now, unfortunately. Ronnie Smith in position. Martin Vilk having a big moment, straight back onto the racing line and somehow collects absolutely no one. That is wild. That is Formula Ford action. Oh, and there's someone else who's been off as well. Henry Moore. It is not going to be 16 consecutive podiums. You have to settle for 15.
Oh, there's a huge more contact as well. Oh, this is absolute chaos. Britton's gone around. Scudeau's gone around. Loads of drivers as well. Phelps has gone down. Dana Moore, I should say, also dropping down the way, as that has been an absolutely chaotic start here for the final race of the season. Owen Whittle sliding his way into third place.
Okay, I counted Henry Moore out of maybe getting a podium, but to be perfectly honest, who knows after all this incident? Because look at this. Oh my goodness. Jason Cooper trying to get around the outside, now in the back out. He's got Zero Zambra trying to look for something. Oh my goodness, you've got Mac McFarquhar basically getting squeezed onto the grass as we got two for the race lead between Jack Badger and Ronnie Smith, and then literally everyone else on planet Earth in third.
This is absolutely carnage. Oh, someone else has gone absolutely off the tracks. And Mensa may be going off. Zambra's gone around as well as we go four wide almost in towards Druids. This is chaos. We've got Will Hope up the inside. Jason Cooper coming around his outside. And there's Mac McFarquhar in the luminous green livery trying to hold on from Owen Whittle in there, in behind for fifth place. As also going three wide coming in towards Graham Hill Bend. These guys don't know where to stop, and they certainly don't as going down Simon Bull.
Yeah, Simon Ball's gone round. Sorry, has someone turned on banter mode or something in the Formula Fords? This is not the racing that we saw in the first one. We saw the best race we've seen all season. Now we're seeing an absolute official race meme fest right now. This is wild stuff. As Ronnie Smith and Jack Badger have checked out by 3 seconds.
This has been absolute chaos, but it's what we love to see, although this is potentially a little bit too much. Oh no, Jason Cooper now gets turned around. There's that Owen Whittle, I think, following him, coming right back into the racing line as Henry Moore gets collected.
Yeah, Henry Moore getting collected, and that's now definitely that 16th consecutive podium comes to a close. I don't know what we're seeing in this, Cam. I'm not going to lie. This is crazy. What? We've been racing for 3 minutes now. We've detonated literally half the grid.
I think it's just fun. Oh no, further contact.
Oh my God.
Sikorsky has gone around there, I think. Or was it Loudon maybe even getting involved with that one? Crisp eventually has been spun around. This has been the most chaotic 2 or 3 laps of racing I've ever seen in sim racing. We've seen big crashes, but this is one after the other. And I think, as I'm trying to say there, it's just last race of the season vibes. Everyone is going for absolutely every millimetre on the track.
That was, honestly, I've commentated on a lot of, I don't know how to say it nicely. I've commentated on a lot of things in sim racing, and that certainly was a thing for 3 minutes. We'll see what else happens over the final 11. I think things might settle down ever so slightly. You can see Dana Moore in 8th position. Hey, do you know what? Don't round him out for being on the podium. I think a victory is a bit of a tall order, but definitely a podium. Cam, I'm going to leave this to you, mate. Good luck.
I think there's going to be a few replays here. So this is from the start. Of course, this is Scudeau up towards the front with Lee Britton trying to battle for the race lead. And they actually had a really nice, this was working out to be a really nice battle up towards the towards the front there, as that is going to be Lee Britton, the 50 machine, just going a little bit wide. Scoodell's going to get the up and under there, but in the background, this is where the further sort of contact is going to be a little bit later on. And side by side already with Henry Moore and Dannemore, your championship contenders side by side. That's some lovely moves. Then up in towards this next one. There we're going to see Isaac Phelps dive up the inside, but it's in behind already. There's some wiggling around there, some squeezing from the drivers who actually seem to be going pretty nicely. But in the background, we're going to see one driver be absolutely sent off there and get spun around into the wall. Huge contact it was from Martin Vilk. And then we're working our way down further on, and is not, of course, going to stop there. Continue their way on to this back straight. And, of course, no, it's going to be in towards turn one. There was further contact. This is what we saw with Whittle and Hope, side-by-side contact. Hope getting pushed out wide. Whittle then and getting involved, unfortunately. And then that was also the 13 machine of Cam Knowles spinning around in here. Finally, is Henry Moore on the racing line. Tries to go to the left as Whittle came on, but couldn't avoid.
That was, honestly, ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
You were basically doing like mid-race highlights there on just constant chaos. I'm honestly, I have no words. I'm kind of like, I find this fairly comical, but also, honestly, for what has been such an amazing season, I think we were due a bad race, and oh boy, have we got one. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to get some exciting action over the next 9 minutes, because to be fair, I get the feeling Jack Badger might want to steal this one off of Ronnie Smith. He does have a victory this season.
Certainly it does, but for Jack Badger, it has been a bit more of a difficult one for him. Best place finish of 6th, actually, in the previous race. Just a few minutes ago, about an hour ago now, the opening race of the evening. Now he's going to be trying to get himself first top 5, first podium, and maybe a first victory of the season, all in one, if he can do it. As you see, the two of them in the bottom corner of the screen. The left-hand side, Ronnie Smith. The right side is Jack Badger. Up towards the front, Ronnie Smith defensive line, but then coming to the racing line to try and get the speed, and it's a clear 5-second gap behind them. So this is it to the end of the race. They just need to battle and try and work who's going to be on top. Jack Badger getting close, but not diving it just yet.
No, I would like to say, give it a good couple of looks all the way around the circuit and spot the potential move. I'm sure that again there is one, but Ronnie Smith knows how to hang positions. Right now, I think for Jack Badger, it's more about just hang on, just hang in there, just let the timer tick down, go for the move in the right place. There is absolutely the opportunity out on circuit, and there is the right one, and to be fair, in this car with what we've seen, it's just about waiting. At the moment, it's definitely between these two, unless, well, yeah, now I've said that, unless there's an enormous crash between the pair of them, but who knows?
We proved in the last race, though, with Pete Berryman winning, that the commentator's curse does not exist.
We know the commentator's curse doesn't exist. It's total rubbish.
Even though I think it kind of does, but we'll see. We'll see how this one works out. Jack Badger is really starting to come strong the last couple of races. 6th, as I said, in the previous race, first race of the evening, but he also came 8th at the one before that. A reverse good race in Donington Park. So the last couple of races have been good. He's got some confidence, and he's looking very strong there. Running a little bit wide, unfortunately. Just going off the line, but it's not too bad. Slipstream will bring him back.
Yeah, I think he downshifted a bit too late and just took too much speed in the corner, and the front of the car went, I don't think so. And just understeered quite a bit. Do you believe in the commentator's curse a little bit? I thought I've taught you over the last few years here, Cam. You should know better. The commentator's curse. I've had this discussion with someone where it comes like, oh, the production curse, the broadcaster curse, or a commentator's curse. I've always said, it's one of two things. Number one, it's a way for drivers to have an excuse for something. There's something to blame. Oh, you said that I was doing well 14 laps before I absolutely stuffed it into the barrier like a pleb. Yeah, no, that was definitely on you, mate. Nothing to do with me. Or number two, it's a way for broadcasters to feel that they've got a little bit more influence over the race. And I think that's definitely more you, Cam. Stop trying to think you got influence on this one.
Oh, no, it's just I did have a good one last week in a NASCAR race where we literally looked at the yellow flag man, and as soon as we did, it came out for a caution. So that was looking very good. But here's Franek Sikorsky to the outside of the 72 of Dan Cofield. This is going to be a difficult overtake if he can try and make it up towards Hawthorne. He's got the run around the outside, but can he do it as they slow down slightly? Goes to the apex as well to cover that one off. That was a lovely move.
Yeah, that was again. It was just tidy. It was just clean. It was committed. It was brave. It was exciting. And like I say, that's what we want to see. That's what we were expecting to see over the first few laps. And hey, who knows? We're going to have a proper fight here to see who's going to get the last interview of the season. That's the important one, isn't it? Let's be honest. Who wants to talk to us?
That's what they're going for, Lewis. You have to certainly
exactly.
see.
I'm enticing them.
How they are as we're coming through the final corner now. There's on the screen, you've got Zamba on that left-hand side. On the right is Will Hope trying to get past him for that third place. As you say, we've spoken to Zamba a few times so far this season, but let's see how this one is going to work out, because of course Mac Farquhar is trying to take that off them as well. The three of them almost pushing each other coming through Paddock Hill Bend with just over 5 minutes to go of the season. A little bit wide there for Zambra. Up the inside is potentially going to be for Will Hope, but Zambra cuts that one off and just dives into the apex.
Yeah, again, just bold and aggressive driving here. I don't know who's going to come out on top of all this. Of course, you've got quite a few drivers involved in the mix. Yeah, obviously the 5 of them here. I wouldn't necessarily rule out. Oh, there's a big look down the inside there. Frank Sikorsky switching with Mac Farquhar and getting himself into 5th position. I wouldn't necessarily rule out Isaac Phelps and Dana Moore rejoining this fight, to be honest.
Yeah, by the end of it, if these guys start battling, you could definitely lose a lot of time. And obviously, we know Phelps and Moore win that battle in the previous race up towards the front. They're certainly probably some of the faster drivers out on the track. And just 2 and a bit seconds, they can certainly close it down. If we start to look at the previous laps as well, is there going to be some gain? Yeah, there was a little bit, about 0.4 of a second to Dan Cofield. But of course, there was a bit of a battle. So potentially a 7-way battle that would be coming on to the final lap, which would be quite a way to end the season.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, could you imagine the drag races we'll get from that? I get the feeling that Dana Moore's car might be a little bit damaged, because he did drop back a little bit. I thought he was already going to be in this fight and then drop back a little bit, and I think he's just picking up the slipstream from Isaac Phelps. So there might be some damage on a Moore's car. So that's what's going to drag him back up into this. He's using Isaac Phelps basically to shield him. There's 4 minutes left to go. It'll be 3 laps of racing, and hey, do you know what? I've got absolutely no idea. Of course, we've got a fight between the top 2, between Ronnie Smith and Jack Badger. Badger's got to pull in some really incredible laps, because Ronnie Smith is starting to check out now.
Yeah, it certainly is. And interestingly, on the is that correct? On the last lap, they both did their best laps of the race. So they're definitely pushing at some good speed. And in behind, actually, Zero Jamba, a couple of tenths faster. So it's just a shame that the gap has grown so big. Because, yeah, it was 5 seconds. It's now 4.4. So despite the batting in behind, they're starting to close in. It won't be enough potentially by the end of this race. But I definitely think that this is going to be a close battle, at least for the top 2. And then for the 5 in behind, but I should say Badger just starting to lose those couple of tenths, and he needs to make sure he's not really losing the slipstream effect, but he is getting to that distance where he might be just struggling on the limit of that.
Yeah, obviously around the 7/10 margin, 6-7/10 margin, you're still getting a fair amount of it, but it isn't quite as strong. You need to make sure you're nailing basically quali laps for the next couple, just to bring yourself back into the mix. But there is going to be only 2 more laps here in the Formula 4. Again, if you are joining us now and you've been thinking, hey, these aren't British Formula 4 cars. No, they're not, because the British Formula 4 Esports Championship will be coming to a close in the next race. We'll be seeing who will be crowned champion in one final 20-minute race just after this one. Of course, we've got tight fights here, though, in the final race of the Formula 4 Championship. It is already settled. Henry Moore is our champion. But who's going to take over what position? We already know Dana Moore's also second. They've already taken prizes first and second. But it's all between everyone else to put on quite the show.
Yeah, we don't quite know. And looking at Sikorsky there, he was really having a bit of an opportunity there, coming in towards Droz. Couldn't quite find the gap down on Will Hope, though, but certainly trying to at least push their way up towards the front. And the pace is coming in absolutely thick and fast between these drivers. Low 32s, high 31s for all of these drivers, even including the top 2. So the pace is very hot indeed. Of course, they're pretty much following each other and doing the same lap times, as we're now getting very close towards the end of the season. The last final time for these drivers. Sikorsky there trying to get a look up the inside in towards Hawthorne. Is certainly a sort of a corner where you have to slow down the driver ahead of you, try and get them offline, and he couldn't quite do that time around. Zamba's putting his car in all of the right places, and we actually saw that earlier in the season. Unfortunately, he's missed a couple of the races, but when he has been there, often he's been on the podium.
Yeah, we've seen some great high mentality from Ciro Zambra. Like I say, has missed a couple of rounds this season, but certainly has shown some excellent speed. throughout the championship. Essentially, what's happened is that Ciro Zambra's not had a drop round because he's missed 2 rounds of championship, which obviously take his drop rounds. So he's basically just been scoring as is. Would love to finish the season with yet another podium. We've seen him on the podium a couple of times. The outside line being taken from Franek Sikorsky, trying to get past Will Hope. Not being able to do so on this occasion. On to the final lap of the race, Cam.
Yeah, it's certainly getting close between these drivers, but they stayed in these same positions for a couple of laps. That doesn't mean the opportunities haven't been there. That's a little bit wide, though, from Will Hope. That gives about a car length or so. As in the background, Morton Phelps are battling as well. They're getting close to Caulfield, actually, for what would be 7 positions. I think Phelps there got the position back. Yes, he did on Dan and Moore. They're having a bit of a ding-dong battle in the final closing stages of the season. Caulfield in the 72 machine, a bit slower than the pack ahead. They'll be trying to swap that around on this final lap, but up to the front, Ronnie Smith is cruising his way to victory, but cruising maybe not in the background is Zambra, because now he's losing a place around the outside.
Yeah, indeed. Ciro Zambra with the inside line coming into Hawthorne's Bend. You've also got Franek Sikorsky in there as well. Mac McFarquhar is going out way too wide. Side by side down for the hill. There's a bit of contact in there as well. The inside line being taken from Franek Sikorsky. Will Hope going out just a touch wide. Mac McFarquhar is going to try and work his way through. It's going to be a brave set as they head their way through Sheen Curve. Absolutely incredible scenes here in the battles just outside of the podium, but up for the race lead towards the final corner. Ronnie Smith will work his way through, will take yet another victory this season. It is his 2nd one, his 4th podium, and more importantly, above all else, it is 3rd in the championship, we believe, for Ronnie Smith as well. Some incredible stuff from him as he crosses the line. We'll have to have that one double checked and stuff when it comes to drop scores, because it's an absolute nightmare. Jack Badger scores the exact same points as he has throughout the entire season in one race. That's how impressive his run to 2nd has been. And Ciro Zambra rounding out the podium once again.
Yeah, awesome race once it's settled down, but those first 3 laps are absolute carnage, and unfortunately took out a few drivers for that final race victory. But Ronnie Smith, once he got in that lead, he never looked back. He managed to hold off the pressure initially from Jack Badger, and then just managed to pull away and get him out of his mirrors for those final few laps. But to be fair, that was an amazing season of racing. We didn't really know what to expect coming into it, but it was a really good support to the British F4 Esports Championship. Here is your results for the final race.
Yeah, Ronnie Smith taking the victory. Jack Badger, well done. And Ciro Zambra rounding out the podium. Hopefully we'll catch up with those 3 and Henry Moore as well if we do grab ourselves some time. Franek Sikorsky, Will Hope, Mac McFarquhar, Dan Caulfield, Dan Moore, Isaac Phelps and Jordan Groves. Isaac Phelps setting the fastest lap of the race, countering some of his penalty points he's had throughout the season, so fantastic for him. Brandon Loudon, Cam Knowles, Ed Hope, Jason Cooper, and then Jason Cooper is where we start all these retirements. It's Cooper, it's Ball, it's Whittle, it's Mentor, it's Crisp, it's Moore, it's Britton, and then a couple more as well. Of course, we've got Connor Scudout and Martin Vilk. Not the most pleasurable race, that one, for a few of our drivers, but it certainly did have its certain bits of entertainment. Do you know what? Henry Moore's waiting in the interview room. Let's have a chat with him before we go anywhere else, because Henry, you've had an incredible season. You've won the championship. Talk to us about that. Of course, ignore the final race. That wasn't super great. You got involved in quite a lot of carnage. But talk to us about the season.
Yeah, I'm buzzing, to be fair. You know, the whole season it's just been really clean at the top, good racing all around. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Now, I'm sure you've won your fair share of things in sim racing. Of course, we did see you win the final running of the. How nice! That's very sweet. He's done very well. He's done very well as Henry. Talk to us about where you're going in the season, where this kind of ranks in things you've achieved in the world of sim racing.
Yeah, I think this is the hardest thing I've done, and yeah, I'm happy to come away with the win. Yeah, hopefully this means I can get a good shot at F4 next year, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, what do you think you can achieve in British Formula 4 esports next season? Do you think you can go for the title, or are you kind of, if you get into it, well, yeah, when you get into it, are you aiming just for like top 5s, maybe the odd race win here and there, or is it literally just I want to win the title and nothing else?
I mean, it's hard to say now because I've never really raced any of the guys in there, but yeah, I'll just do my best. It's obviously really competitive up there, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Henry, it has been an incredible season. You are a very worthy champion and, again, a super talent. Thank you so much for this season. And, again, we'll hopefully catch up with you in the near future.
Cheers, guys. Thanks. Been a great season.
There we go. Our series champion in Henry Moore. Again, absolutely incredible. And yeah, superb performance, but didn't win the race, didn't even get to the checker flag because the winner of that one is Ronnie Smith. And Ronnie, honestly, mate, we've seen some incredible drives from you. We saw you winning at a race earlier on in the season. You saw you winning this one. Did you get any idea of how chaotic it was behind you? That was wild.
Well, I had Dan in the voice chat saying that it was just all kicking off behind, but I was just eyes forward trying to open the gap up as much as I could. To be honest.
No, seriously, rewatch the first 3 minutes of that race. It is the most crazy stuff that we have seen in this championship. Talk us through the season that you've had. There's been a lot of ups and downs. I think we've now secured third in the championship again. It's the drop scores. We're all idiots in the commentary box, so we're not going to go into it. But you've had quite a fight with Jason Cooper for that third position.
Yeah, I mean it's been tough. It's a very different car to drive to everything else. Like we said last week at Donington, adapting back to it every week after driving a prototype or something. It's not easy, but I mean I'm happy because we got there in the end. As a team, we've worked hard, and I've had to sit here and work a lot of hours in the seat to try and get as fast as I can, and to finish off with a win and P3 in championship is pretty good.
Yeah, it's been like I say, it's been a wild season. It's been a different season. It's been very exciting. What can we expect to see you in the near future? Where are you aiming your sights?
A lot of endurance racing. I've got plans with Alpha to be doing a lot of endurance based racing because that's what I primarily do. If an opportunity comes up in British F4 Esports, I would not turn it down. Definitely not. But we'll see. Offers come and go, don't they? We'll see what comes.
Ronnie, once again, fantastic season. And again, a very well-deserved victory in what was a very chaotic final race.
Thanks a lot.
There we go. For the second time a victor in the Formula Ford season. And of course, we'll be joined by a driver who decided it was a good idea to end the season by scoring the exact same points in one race as they did through the entire championship. Jack Badger, for the first time here in the comms booth, in the interview room, finishing the season with your best result. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a little bit impressive, but I'm ashamed of the first lap incident. I looked back at it now, it looked like it may have been a bit of a 50-50 really. Hard to tell though.
There was so much going on in those first couple of laps, and again, what was a very, very chaotic start. We've spoken a couple of times with other people about how that was. What was it like being in the car in the middle of all of that?
The only thing I could say is that I was scared. That's the only thing I could really say.
Well, you've obviously got a very good second place there. Through the season, though, you've had a lot of ups and downs, a couple of struggles through there. Did you feel as the season was going on, you were getting stronger and stronger in this car? Because it's certainly what it seemed like pace-wise.
Consistently throughout this season, I've just been slow. That's the only way to describe it until this very race. Seems like I've just jumped in performance a little bit. I have recently just got myself a new pair of pedals, so maybe that could have been the reason.
Maybe getting that feel for the brake pedal, rolling your way through the corners is always a positive. Did you think you could ever maybe get past Ronnie for the victory? Do you think that was on the cards, or were you just kind of settled? Look, second place, best result of the season. Let's finish on a high.
It was a little bit of both. Towards the first few laps of the race, I knew I was keeping up with him, and then I made a slight mistake through the hairpin. I went in too deep. At that point, I lost a bit too much time. I didn't have the toe, and then at that point, I knew that I had to settle for second.
Well, Jack, mate, again, great to have you in the comms booth, and great to have a little chat with you as we round out the season. Fantastic effort.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Only one person left to interview. We were talking about who was going to win the final interview of the season, and this time it was Ciro Zambra. Once again this season, we've had a couple of chats with you throughout the championship. Ciro, talk to us about that race because you were involved in quite a fight. Was it 5 cars, 6 cars all involved in that fight towards the end of the race? You pieced your way through it very well, and again, a well-deserved third place.
Yeah, it was a very, very intense race. A last race in the series, and first race today didn't go that well. I mean, I had a crash. Was unfortunate, but I think was kind of my fault there. But all over the season, it's just been a lot of bad luck, a lot of bad races. And I think it could have turned out better, but it is what it is now.
Now, obviously, we saw you starting out the season, nearly winning races early on, and you've picked up a whole host of podiums from the start of the season to the end of the season, but not quite a victory. Is that kind of a bitter pill to swallow, or is that okay?
It's okay. I mean, the season isn't what I wanted it to be like. I want, in the media day, I had a victory. Actually, I fought against Henry Moore, so I knew I had the pace over the season, but just some bad luck. I mean, I missed 2 rounds, and I've been sick last round at Knockhill. The last round I didn't race, so yeah, just just a bit unfortunate, but it's okay, and I'm really happy for Dan and Moore and Henry Moore, of course, but Dan in my team. I'm really happy for him to finish in P2.
Yeah, I mean, let's look back on some of those positives of the season. Obviously, the average positive. You've had like a load of teammates around you constantly. How are the vibes in the squad? Because it seems like you all kind of get along really, really well. There's always that kind of positive energy around all you, and you always seem to find each other on the same part of the grid.
Yeah, it was very close. I mean, we practiced together, of course, and it was a lot of fun with the team. Well, I gotta say the championship itself wasn't that much fun for me because, I just had so many crashes, so many spins, and yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. Again, we hope
is.
to see you. We hope to see you in the near future, Ciro, because again, you've been very impressive, and
Thank you.
picking off loads of podiums. It's been great fun.
Thank you so much.
Well, there we go. Ciro Zambra then, of course, onto the podium once more. Cam, we've got 3.5 minutes before we round out things here as we get ready for the season finale, the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. This is gonna be crazy.
It certainly is, and I really hope we don't get a repeat of what we saw in the first couple of races there for the Fallen Forwards, because that was a little bit of carnage, because it is coming down to the wire with Pete Berryman taking victory in the first race of the evening. That's kept himself in contention, so we have a three-way fight, and from what we saw from the batting, they are absolutely sending it at this track. So I think anything can happen. Is reverse grid as well. It is all up in the air, and I really think it is a lottery. I don't think any sort of people who like a bit of betting, I don't think anything like that is really worth doing on this race, because literally anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is honestly as crazy as it gets. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the top four in the championship, top three rather in the championship, the three that are battling for the title race. Luke McEwen is on 229 points. He is 4 points clear of Gordy Much, who is on 225. Basically, as Luke said in his interview, if he is ahead of Gordy in the position, it's set. You don't have to do any major maths, you don't have to do anything ridiculous. It's set. It's the title for him. It'll be back-to-back British Formula 4 Esports Championships for Luke McEwen. Gordy's has to go out there and basically challenge and work his way through. Pete Berryman is on 210 points. He's 19 points off the title. We have three drivers battling for the championship. If Pete Berryman has any aspirations of winning, he has to win this race, because even if Luke McEwen and Gordy Much retire and Pete Berryman is second, then he still doesn't win the championship. He has to win this race. There is no other option.
Yes, and even if he was to were to get that win, actually no, to fair, if he won, then he would have more wins, winning the fastest lap at that point. So that is starting to get very crucial. But then, as you say, he also needs McEwen and Much to DNF at the same point. So it's a very much outside opportunity for Berryman, which then really leaves it to focus on McEwen and Much. As you say, 4 points between them. Remember, there's a point for fastest lap as well, which might come into it, and that means that they really need to be in sort of like the top half of the points to have, or Much especially needs to be in the top half of the points to have a gap as well. Otherwise, he's going to need to start having one or two people in between him and McEwen. So it's going to be a very tricky race, and I think it's going to be difficult for them to control as such. It's just going to be try and work with the racecraft, try and go with the flow of the race and work your way forward at the right times. Do what Pete Berryman did in that previous race and wait to make your move at the right time. If you go for it all the time, sometimes you actually end up going backwards even more because you get pushed out and you're in awkward situations.
Now, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, sat at home, if you're thinking, oh, how do I keep up to date with all this maths and all this rubbish? Don't worry, I've got the UK's finest mathematician on the scene to calculate it with the best made spreadsheet that mankind has ever seen. Cameron Roger will be piecing together maths through the race by literally typing 3 different numbers into a spreadsheet and seeing what it says, because it automatically does it. Don't you worry, we will keep you up to date through the race as to who will be winning the championship. It won't be hard.
It certainly won't. No pressure to try keep up with that one. It's going to be, oh man, it's going to be a tricky one to see where this is going to land. But yeah, for the final time, it's just one final grid. And of course, it's reverse grid as well, just to add to the drama.
Yes, indeed. I honestly cannot wait for this. It has been an incredible season here in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, of course, with big thanks to our partners in Wave Italy and RaceSpot as well. We will get ready for one final race. It'll be Stanley Deslandis starting from the reverse grid pole. It'll be Remy Gilbert alongside Josh Ladd and Gordy Much battling for the title before we get to our title protagonists. Much, McEwen and Berryman, 4th, 5th and 6th. Who's going to win the title? It'll be between one of those 3. Matt Emery will start this one from 7th position with Jonas Wanner and James Armstrong. Ryan McAuliffe will start from 10th. And because it's such a big grid, we are going to let the rest roll through. Of course, the likes of Moreno Sarica can absolutely grab a podium. The likes of anyone back here, Lucas Miller, we can see him inside the top 10. Who knows? Josh Poulain, we know the pace of him. We saw a 3-wide overtake from him rolling through into the final, into the first corner in the first race of the season. Cam, don't worry, I'm not going to get a prediction from you because it is race time for one final time here in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Let's see if Stanley Deslandis can end the season on a high, and let's see who's going to win the title. We are underway here at Brands Hatch, and Stanley Deslandis will lead us. Remy Gilbert trying to get to the outside. Josh Ladd going for the up and under in the first corner, looking for another win in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. He's got a couple to his name. He dearly love to finish the season with another. Straight down the inside of Remy Gilbert as the title protagonists go side by side. It is Gordy Much just about keeping Luke McEwen and Pete Berryman at bay.
Or they having a battle themselves. They don't want to let Gordy Much get further up the way. Side by side they remain. The 2 Stormforce ART drivers coming in towards the very fast corner 30s. Onto the back straight now, but they've given Gordy Much a good sort of 5-6 car lengths, and this is going to open up the opportunity for people to start slipstream, but it is Deslandis who leads the way up towards Hawthorne.
Now, at the moment, if they finish as they stand, which they definitely ain't, don't worry, as Pete Berryman's got to worry about Jonas Wanner onto the mix, and Pete Berryman's out wide. Oh, my goodness, he's going to rejoin the race circuit. There might have been contact between himself and Jonas Wanner, and his title chances have gone. At the moment, if things finish as they stand, I will tell you now, even without doing any points calculation, Luke McEwen would be the champion. But hey, we've got 18 minutes and 50 seconds of the craziest race in money combined to deal with.
Yeah, in these positions, it might be enough for McEwen to sit in behind, but the further up they go, the bigger the points gap in between the positions, and therefore, if they finish 1 and 2, Much will reverse it around. So they need to, McEwen needs to be careful to not let Much get too far out of the way, but this might be the opportunity. The first one up the inside of Paddock Hill Bend is going to be Josh Ladd. Of course, these two had a bit of a ding-dong in the first round of the season here, if I remember rightly, in towards Druids around the outside, potentially for Much. No, he's going to sit that one in, but of course, that just leaves McEwen to get right on the back. This is so difficult with the top 3 all out of championship contention. They just want to get a race victory. They've got Much and McEwen in behind who are battling for every last inch of the track. It is going to be very, very tense, and let's see how calm Much wants to be in these battles.
There's so many laps though in this race. You know, we're expecting 14 laps of racing. There's so many to pick your way through bit by bit. Gordy Much, you can see him, he wants a victory. If he finishes in second position and Luke McEwen is directly behind him in third, not good enough. The only position where there is one position between you and the points difference is great enough is first to second. He must win this race to really get after the championship, where it's kind of he's removing it from the hand. Kind of makes you wonder if he gets up in the second position, do the JHR by 29 Esports camp, do they say, Stan, I know you had a rough season, I know you're in position for victory, but we got a title to win here, buddy.
If it comes down to that needing to happen, I reckon we'll see a swap of positions. Also from Stanley, just probably having the brain power to work that one out in the race situation as well. But he is getting a nice little lead up towards the front, isn't he? He's pretty calm with Gilbert almost a second back now coming towards Paddock Hill Bend. And this is going to be starting to get very tense indeed, because as they slow down, they start bunching up behind, and Josh Ladd needs to try and outbrake him. But then, of course, Gordy Much is getting in close, and he needs to look in his mirrors as well, because Luke McEwen is in there. In the background, Yusvana is getting past Matt Emery, and that's a nice move there for the Dura Esports driver. Not the best season so far, but up in the top 6.
Yes, indeed. We'll take a look at some replays. Let's see what happened to Pete Berryman. Going around the outside of Jonas. I wonder if, Wana did look like he ran out wide. We can only kind of see the brief end of it going through there. I do get the vibe that Wana was running him out wide, and we'll see it again from a longer shot and really piece this one together. We can see here, look at the 19 getting to the inside. It is quite a late send here. Tries to send it in, fires his way through. I don't know if there was contact between the pair of them actually.
Yeah, that's just such a difficult corner, isn't it? To go side by side either way. And unfortunately for Pete Berryman, he had slim hopes, and that is pretty much made them negative as well. So it's been a difficult season. To be honest, for Pete Berryman, I actually feel kind of bad for him. If you look at the results, he's only had 1 retirement. And when the other drivers of Gordy Much has had 2 retirements, Luke has had 1 and then 2 points finishes of 0 outside of the points as well. So he's had a very strong season, just not enough for the champions. Wide there goes Gilbert. I wonder if there was contact there with Ladd going up the inside in towards turn 1. That gives Much third place. McEwen around the outside is going to be 4th. Will it end like that though? Yeah, I'm not sure. That we'll have to take a look at a dozen replays at all of that. That was crazy. Don't know. I almost kind of feel like it was himself. But either way, Josh Ladd in 2nd position now, and Gordy Much in tow. Let's see if Much can work his way through. Again, at the moment, the points difference is not enough right now. Luke McEwen would be back-to-back series champions, but let's be honest, this is way too early in the day to be talking about that, because, of course, we've got 15 minutes left to go in this race. Luke McEwen desperately wants to get through. When we were chatting with him in the interview, he said he wants to get ahead of Gordy Much. He wants to be in front of Gordy Much, because then it removes any mathematics, any equations from the table, which, to be fair, as commentators, we would kind of want as much math removed as possible. Gordy Much going aggressive, trying to get to the outside of Josh Ladd. As it stands, though, it is only 1 point. So that is very interesting if it was to finish like this. So Gordy Much needs to try and get past Josh Ladd. I mean, I guess even at a fastest lap would then at least put them tight on points. So this is, but then it would probably go the way of Luke McEwen as it did coming into the round. So definitely, a difficult situation for Gordy Much. He knows he needs to get past Josh Ladd, but Josh Ladd is one of those drivers who doesn't give up any sorts of positions. And this is going to be very tricky indeed. Look at all of the cars lining up in behind them, trying to take points off.
Yeah, indeed. Again, the complicated maths as Luke McEwen's trying to send it to the outside. That was very aggressive. He's getting kind of forced into it by the fact that he's got Matt Emery, Jonas Wanner and Ted Bradbury, and again, everyone else all over the rear end of him. It is a big, unreal lead that Stanley Deslanders has pulled out. He is flying around Brands Hatch this afternoon, this evening, as we've got 14 minutes left on the clock. He's got nearly 4 seconds he's pulled out from the title leaders, as Josh Ladd is going to have to take a big defensive liner. He's got to take an absolute swing at this if he's going to try and hang on to 2nd position. The outside look coming from Gordy Much. The big one around the outside of Hawthorne's. Unbelievable risk. He is putting everything on the line at the moment. It's the number 29. Straight around the outside once again as they come through Westfield Bend. It has opened up the opportunity potentially for the overtake, and it has been complete. Gordy Much, move of the day. Absolutely incredible, with a championship on the line to take 2nd.
And when he needs it, this is the extra couple of points that he needed. So if it finished like this, he would be the champion. So Luke McEwen now needs to try and get past Josh Ladd to make that battle going towards his favour. This is such intense racing at the top level. And of course, for the championship, just adds to the drama. There is Josh Ladd, left-hand side, Luke McEwen on the right-hand side on the webcams as well, as they get so close in towards turn 1. Bradbury making moves in behind. He's going to want to get involved with this as well, considering he's having such a strong end to this season. This is a very intense time for McEwen because he can't let Gordy Much get away.
At the moment, the fastest lap of the race is not in the hands of either Gordy Much or Luke McEwen. So that extra bonus point will actually go the way of Stanley Deslanders. Actually, no, it will go the way of Lucas Muller at the moment. He's got a 1 minute 22.222. Looks very satisfying on my timesheet. But he's the one at the moment, at least as far as I can see, that has the fastest lap of this race, meaning that extra bonus point is not being dished out. So for Luke McEwen, it's actually good news. If he can get past on Josh Ladd, it means he will be winning the championship by a single point.
Yes, it is very tense. And with the gap that's gone up ahead to Deslanders, pretty much is all about now. If McEwen gets past Ladd, he will be the champion, even finishing behind Gordy Much. So that is a very tense moment, because now Gordy Much can't really do much else because there's such a big gap ahead. He's realistically not going to overtake Stanley for the race lead unless they want to do any sort of swap around there. But that's so tense because look at the train of cars in behind. This is such a difficult moment for Luke McEwen to try and get past.
Yeah, exactly. I do think there's quite a bit of nose damage on Josh Ladd's car. Oh my goodness, that's Ted Bradbury going straight on the inside of Luke McEwen with a big send into Paddock Hill. It is Bradbury trying to throw himself into the championship fight. The Altus Esports driver going aggressive down the inside of McEwen, and then he is going to put the right pressure onto McEwen as he drops Luke McEwen, the series champion, the #1 driver, to 5th place, and that means that things are looking great for Gordy Much.
Yes, this is starting to open up a little bit now. As Pete Berryman there, from going off at Hawthorne, is now coming back into this fight. Can he get involved and somehow do something in this battle as well? The number 50, of course, is realistically out of the championship at this point, but depending on what happens, he could still mathematically win it. Let's see in the final half of the race.
Josh Ladd getting defensive. Ted Bradbury's trying to work his way through, going for the up and under here, dropping it down the hill. Bradbury's not going to be able to do it. Josh Ladd hanging on to that final podium position right now, but for how long? Things are getting aggressive, and you get the feeling things are starting to boil, and that's getting dangerous indeed for JHR by 21 Esports. This is perfect right now. Luke McEwen's a little bit further down the order. Standing Designs is running away. It's a 1-2 for the team at the moment. The title will be coming to the team. A big look down the inside. Contact between the pair. Ted Bradbury's going to open the door here, and look who might come back through, as there might be 3-1. I think there was contact as well. Berryman's getting to the high side.
And McEwen needs to make sure he's got this one stuck, which he has, in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Pete Berryman might try and cover him off around the outside as well. He's had contact around the outside a couple of times so far this event, and up towards Druitt, who's going to break later in towards the corner. It looks like it's going to be pretty much equal side by side, as it is going to be the number 50 machine just getting squeezed out a little bit, and now it's huge for Luke McEwen because he can now focus on Josh Ladd. The issue for him is that Gordy Much has gone up the road by over a second out of slipstream range, so even if McEwen gets up there, it's going to be difficult to chase him down, but it still would be enough in terms of points if McEwen can get past Josh Ladd.
Exactly. So that now things are starting to switch over a little bit. Things are starting to look a little bit more nervy once more as Jonas Wanner and Pete Berryman, well, we've seen those two make contact already, or at least we believe it was contact anyway, as Pete Berryman now is to the inside, taking the advantage going into Hawthorns. Jonas Wanner will drop back. Obviously you've got Matt Emery trying to work his way through. Going out wide was I think it was James Armstrong on the exit of the Hawthorns bend. Again, side by side as we head back up the hill. Remy Gilbert trying to work his way back into the mix. Remy Gilbert going round, and Remy Gilbert we're a one-way trip to the barrier, and a sad end to the Guild Esports season.
Yeah, they've had such a strong run of it in a very competitive championship, getting a race victory, but that is not the way that he would have wanted to finish the season. But unfortunately, when you go side by side for machines, it's such a difficult corner. Already that wiggle really just opening up the sort of opportunity to go side by side. It's such a one-line corner that actually, to be fair, giving enough space, but just not the place really to make two cars work.
Yeah, like I said, just a bit a bit tough there rather between the pair of them. It's very hard to go side by side through that bit. I will say for the JHR by 21 Esports, I want to see Stanley Designs win this race because he's had a tough season. It would be great to see. If they want to win the Drivers' Championship, though, they actually have a really easy position to do because, yes, it's a 5 seconds drop back, but because of the gap that's behind, things are actually quite easy to switch those drivers. And I think they may need to do so if they're going to win the Drivers' Championship. No move coming in from Luke McEwen, who was trying to get past Josh Ladd there. I think he might have given out a little bit of a bump draft. Maybe he is unaware as to the damage on the front of McEwen's car. I'm pretty sure that nose is crumpled in as Ted Bradbury trying to get himself back in, looking back over the rear end of the Williams Esports car. No way to work through just yet.
Yeah, this is big pressure time for Luke McEwen because it's actually become easier. So if Gordy Much was right ahead of Josh Ladd, it would actually be a bit more of a difficult overtake for McEwen, but because it's effectively 1v1, this is quite nice. The difficulty for him is that he's got Ted Bradbury up his rear end trying to close him down and get that position. And as we've been mentioning quite a lot, Bradbury really coming strong this second part of the season, and this is going to be a huge step potentially for Luke McEwen because he knows he needs to go for up the inside, but not quite enough.
No, again, getting aggressive. But the thing is, Ted Bradbury is one of the more aggressive drivers on the field. He's going to try and get to the outside going into Druids. Big send from the Altus Esports man. The up and under trying to work for McEwen again. They'll probably go single file by the time they get to Graham Hill Bend. Maybe a bit of a misjudgment there from McEwen, almost getting into the rear of Josh Ladd. Now trying to get down the inside. These two, remember when we went racing at Brands Hatch in the first round of the season? Those two made contact. It was into Paddock Hill as Ted Bradbury with an absolute send going through Surtees, trying to work his way through into 4th position.
The heartbeat must be absolutely racing now for Luke McEwen on the outside of Hawthorne. His championship hopes rely on getting past the Williams driver, but the Altus driver now trying to get past him as well around the outside of a very tricky sequence of corners it is going to be. This is big pressure moves. Keep it on the track at least, which he is doing now, but this is a huge send from Ted Bradbury as well to complete the move if he can, and he does. 3 corners it took him, but he's up into 4th place, and that is another position away that Luke McEwen needs.
Ted Bradbury would dearly love a podium here. We've seen him on the podium before in British Formula 4, just not this season. It was last season. He had a 2nd and a 1st at the Silverstone round we did. He absolutely blasted the competition away that round. Yeah, for this one, he's not had a podium this season. That was the only podium he ever had last season. So this would be a very sweet move indeed. We've seen him fight for it. You can see Bradbury in the bottom right. You can see Josh Ladd left of him in the inset in the screen there. See if Bradbury's going to get around the outside. He's going to have a brave commitment once more, but not able to do so. At the moment, with 5 and a bit minutes left to go in the race, things are looking great for Gordy Much in the title race, and it's looking like a dire situation for the Stormforce ART bunch when it comes to drivers. Yes, they've already won the team's championship, but it's all about drivers now.
Let's see what happens though, because if Bradbury and Josh take each other out, then that gives the positions to Luke. So this is a very, just a tense situation. 5.5 minutes to go in the championship. Just a reminder, the number 1 machine needs to get past both of these drivers. Gordy Much, his rival, is going up the road, but 3rd place will be enough. Round the outside though for Ted Bradbury. He's got the speed in this race. Can he make it work for a 2nd lap in a row?
This is going to be a brave one. It's so tight as they head their way through, heading back down once again out here in the forest at West Kingsdown. It's so tight. Oh, that might be a little bit wide there from Ted Bradbury. The side-by-side continues, and somehow Ted Bradbury hangs on to 4th, and now he's absolutely sent it on Josh Ladd heading through the penultimate turn. He's actually opened up the opportunity for Luke McEwen to come back through. It's got to be a big send through the final corner around the outside. The Altus Esports car is going to go with the perfect judgment out to the white line. He's going to have to try and stick it as they get down towards Paddock Hill.
This is incredible racing considering a championship is on the line. They're going side by side around the first corner of Paddock Hill Bend and now downhill up towards Druids. A little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of brushing between the two. Luke McEwen diving it up the inside, trying to get past, but also around the outside. Matt Emery is getting involved. He might get himself past Pete Berryman to make himself a 3rd contender for this 3rd place. Maybe a little bit of contact as well between Josh Ladd and Luke McEwen. They're almost pushing each other. 10, 12 cars on the screen.
Gordy Much is having the calmest drive in this race right now, running in 2nd position. The title fight is almost out of his hands right now, but it is in this entire battle. Luke McEwen's heart must be racing so hard. He's probably going to be sick. That is absolutely crazy. Oh, there's a big crash and it's on a straight. GG, 10 out of 10.
Harley Horton there for Pure Sims has gone around, and that just proves how close this racing is. As you say, on a straight, not what we always see, as Bradbury's actually got a little bit of a gap there by a few car lengths to Josh Ladd. Is that going to overtake the opportunity? Now for the number 1 machine, up the inside of Sheen Curve, side by side, almost a bit of contact between the two. Ladd goes off. He's going to have the inside line though for Sterling's, as this is an important overtake for McEwen if he can hold on to it.
Oh my goodness, how on earth has McEwen got through? My mouth was wide open, the jaw had hit the ground as Josh Ladd goes out wide going through the final corner, and after what has been a great drive from him, he'll drop down to 14th at the rear end of this train. Connery Maddock, broadcast director, can confirm my jaw hit the floor. That was absolutely incredible. Luke McEwen works his way through to 4th. It's not good enough for the title. He must get past Ted Bradbury, and there will be 3 laps left to go. Matt Emery to the inside of Jonas Wanner. Pete Berryman hanging on to the front of this train as there's more drama as well. Alexander Davidson and Brandon Abrahams.
Oh, Pure Sims not having a good lap there. Horton and Armstrong there are both going around, unfortunately for them. So what this leaves now is Bradbury, McEwen. Remember, McEwen still needs that 3rd place. It was Josh Ladd ahead of him. It's now Bradbury. 2.5 minutes. And as we stand, Gordy Much will be taking the title by a couple of points. But if we see the increase of position for McEwen, that'll be enough points to overtake Gordy Much. So this one position is all that he needs, and he's got the speed to do it.
And again, just to confirm, if they do go through, is Luke McEwen with a big send down the inside. He's already trying to take over that third spot. I was about to start talking about his contact between the pair. Ted Bradbury's gone out wide. Luke McEwen will come his way through, and he will take over third position. And at the moment, Peace is himself in the title race. You can see the arm being lifted up from Ted Bradbury. Not really feeling too great about that one. 2 laps left to go. If JHR20, they've got to switch. They've got to switch.
I think they do, but it's 4.5 seconds. Let's see if we do that side by side in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Luke McEwen needs to risk this and hold on to that track position, but the up and under for Ted Bradbury down the inside. These two don't want to put each other off, but they might do in their battle for the podium as Luke McEwen goes back behind and loses those important points.
This is crazy for the champion. This is absolutely unreal for the title race. There will be 2 laps left to go in this one. And honestly, Cam, my heart is racing. I don't know which way it's going to go. You've got this battle between Gordy Much and Luke McEwen. It's been a fantastic fight all the way through the season. It is coming down to the wire in the best possible way. I am on the absolute edge of my seat, and I've got no idea where we're going to end up. The 53, of Ted Bradbury, is going to be the title decider in this somehow, and I just don't know which way it's going to go. The bonus point for fastest lap is gone. It's in the hands of someone else, although I will say Gordy Much has just got damn close to it.
This could be so crucial. Remember, McEwen can't get a penalty, can't get points penalties or anything like that. In doing so, Much got that last time out, which is what led them to be joined on score coming in towards this final race of the season. Up the inside, though, it's going to be for McEwen. Bradbury had a terrible run there out of Sterling.
Yeah, and here he goes down the inside and working his way through. It'll be Luke McEwen onto the final lap of the race. And do you know what? Fastest lap of the race, Gordy Much. They're going to be locked on points, Cam. Go and find out what the countback is, because this is crazy.
This is absolutely insane. So Bradbury goes out wide though. 3 wide, we come up towards Druids as this is insane because McEwen is now in position for the championship, but Pete Berryman is of course in behind, covering him off. But as you say, Much with that fastest lap might bring him back. I'll do my best.
Yeah, what is the countback? You go and figure it out. You try and calculate it, Cam, and you shout at me whenever you get it. This could not be more dramatic. Again, Stanley Deslandis, he's had an incredible race, but he's got to do the thing for his team. He's got to do the thing for his teammate. He's got to give up the victory in Gordy Much. Oh my goodness, I don't think he's going to though. I don't think there's enough time. He'd have to literally slam on the anchors as he comes through the final couple of corners and now through Sterling's and down towards the last. Cam, what is the countback? Do you know?
They are tied on 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th place finishes. It would come down to a 5th place, I believe, from Luke McEwen in Alton Park.
Wow, wow, wow. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Stanley Deslandis through the final corner up towards the line. He's going to go. Stanley Deslandis with an incredible victory. Gordy Much up to the line for second. And I think he knows it might not be enough. He has done everything that he can. I do believe, again, provisionally, we'll have to put a big asterisk on it. But I do believe that Luke McEwen for back-to-back seasons is going to be the champion. I don't think even they know which way it's going to go. We have no idea in the commentary box. They will be tied on points at the moment, and it is incredible. The fastest lap of the race was set by Gordy Much on the penultimate lap there, and as far as we are aware in the comments box, they are locked on points. They came into the round locked, and it seems like they might come out of it locked as well.
This is incredible. So after a whole season of racing, they have 4 wins apiece, both of them. They also have 4 second places apiece, and actually Luke McEwen getting that 3rd place means he's got 4 third places to Gordy Much's 3. So by my maths, with that overtake actually brought them in to Luke McEwen, because they would all, if he had finished 4th, they would have also been tied on a 4th place finish apiece as well. Insanely close over the course of the season, but I think by the pure fortune of that, the 3rd place finish effectively, that is going to be the title.
I mean, you can't write it. You absolutely can't write it. How incredible has this season been? To bring it down to the wire, 2 of the very best in the world of sim racing. Again, hats off to them. Round of applause. An incredible performance. Gordy Much and Luke McEwen, they were absolutely destroyed in this race, by the way, by Stanley Deslandis, who finally gets that victory this season, and that will taste very, very sweet indeed. But Luke McEwen will finish the lap in, or no, he'll pull over. Okay, I don't think either of them know.
They probably don't, to be honest. And it was an incredible season, and what a race to finish it. And somehow, Deslandis came out on top.
Confirmation at the bottom of your screen then. Gordy Much with that fastest lap. Gordy Much with second place. Luke McEwen with third. They're separated by 4 points coming into it. That is a 4-point margin, bringing them level on points. Stan Dezans with a very well-deserved victory and a 1-2 for JHR by 29 Esports. Of course, it was a 1-2-3-4 for the Apex Racing camp, at least, as Luke McEwen and Pete Berryman secured third and fourth in the race. Matt Emery for Veloce Vex with Ted Bradbury down to sixth position. Jonas Juana Moreno Sarica, Josh Ladd, and Manuel Biancalilla at the top 10. Josh Ladd did a bloody good job, by the way, to get back inside the points. That is very impressive indeed. We'll head down to the final positions as well in the race, and we'll see Rachel Concoli, Lucas Miller, Sergio Fitzpatrick, Tamas Simon, and James Armstrong, Freddie Ingram and Duncan Hoffman being the finishers on the lead lap before we got the Pure Sims, who were both taken out basically on the same lap, along with Brandon Abrahams, Alexander Davison and Harley Horton, of course, down in 20th position. And look at the emotion.
Wow. What an expression we got there from Gordy. That is incredible. But to be fair, he gave it everything he could in that race.
Yeah, I mean, look, they couldn't have done anything. And do you know what? I think it's probably about time we have a quick chat with Stanley Deslan, as someone who at least looks happy. I'm sure, at least I hope he looks happy, as we'll drag him in a second to have a quick chin wag. And like I say, between the pair of these two, to be fair, I almost think that might be a bit of an anti-climax for Luke McEwen, thinking, oh, what could have been, what should have been, what would have been. Oh, wait, I am the champion. He almost doesn't seem as though he knows. Well, there's someone who does know at least the state of affair, and that is Stan Deslandis, who is the victor in the final race of the season. Stan, talk us through that one. You had pole position in the round. You dropped back a little bit after a bit of an issue between yourself and Pete Berryman, and then you got reverse grid pole fortuitously, and then you absolutely slapped the field. Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, pretty lucky to be honest for me to get the reverse grid pole after having an incident in the first race, but I knew I had like a bit of a pace advantage on Remy because of the first race when I caught up to him a bit. So I thought if I can get through the first 1 or 2 laps cleanly, I could keep him at a gap that he wouldn't be able to send me, and just managed it from there really.
Yeah, like I say, to end the season on such a high, of course, we have seen you win a race before in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. It was a while ago, though. We've seen you back on the podium a few times. It's been a very up and down season from you, but to end it in this kind of position, it's very solid, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a relief to be honest to have this done. I've had such a rough season from first 2 rounds, didn't even finish a race, got taken out 4 times, then running out of fuel at Snetterton. Just so many issues that most of the time, well, almost all the time, weren't my fault. So, but I just had a bit more motivation for this one. I just thought, you know what, last round, let's just send it, and managed to get the best out of it.
Was there ever a discussion to potentially drop you behind Gordy Much to secure the title for him?
No, there wasn't, because as soon as I got past the first lap, I was on deafen the whole race. So, yeah, it was just fight for whoever gets the championship. I'm not sure who's actually won it, but I think they're tied on points. But yeah, it was just about letting me just go away. I mean, maybe if Gordy was on my rear and it was a bit more of a fight between everyone, maybe I would have helped him out a bit more to help him win over Luke. But apart from that, it was just do your own race.
Well, we'll catch up with them in a moment. But yes, again, fantastic drive from you. And again, a great way to end the season, Stan. It's been so great catching up with you. It's been such a good season from you. And like you say, hopefully we'll see more of this kind of driving in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Stan Deslandis, the winner in the final race of the championship. Now, things may go down here. We'll see what happens with Gordy Much. Of course, we know the kind of driver he is. We'll catch up with him after that second place. And again, I just want to capture that raw emotion. Gordy, it's been a long season. It's been a tough season to end in this kind of way. How are you feeling right now?
I don't know. I think we're even on points.
Yeah.
I've got no idea. Like, I think it's been a great battle between Luke, Pete, and myself all season long. I think we've been the top guys all season. So yeah, I mean, in that race there, to be honest, I almost drove off the track once or twice because I was looking down at my relative more than the actual track to see what was going on behind. It looks. I think if there was one car in between me and Luke, I would have won the championship. But if he finished directly behind me, he would have won if I didn't get the fastest lap. So I pushed like hell in the last few laps, and I did what I needed to do. So from my side, I couldn't have done anything more. I think the first few rounds hurt me a bit. You know, and it also hurt Luke a fair bit as well. I think we both had a pretty rough start to the season. So I'm happy with the comeback, and I'm happy with my performance this year. Let's see. I'm not too sure what the final verdict is. But yeah, it's been a great year, and it's been a pleasure racing these guys. So whoever wins in the end is the deserving winning.
Yeah, of course. As far as we're aware, you two are locked on points, and it will go to him on countback. But then again, there might be penalty points to deal with. He was involved in a very intense fight. I'm sure you can kind of see that on your relative. What is it like being in a championship fight where we've all kind of heard about all this stuff, where it's so frustrating, where essentially the control is completely out of your hands. You can't do anything more.
Yeah. I mean, I for me, like I did everything within my power to sway the championship in my direction. At one point, I was even considering dropping back 3 seconds to give Josh the draft just so he would be able to defend a bit more. And maybe in hindsight, I regret not doing that. But I decided, I'd put myself too much at risk. I decided just to push where I was, go for fastest lap, and that's what I did. So if Luke wins on count back, then congratulations to him. He's driven a great season.
Yeah, we again, he has, of course, pending penalties. He has won it on countback, pending penalties, pending processes, and all that kind of stuff. This kind of stuff that we'll have to find out in due course. Again, Gordy, though, I got to say, you put on an amazing season. We want to thank you for the drives you put on, for the championship race that you put on. It's been incredible this season, and yeah, we'll leave you to it. And again, maybe have to get the old razor out, unfortunately.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
No
Cheers.
worries. So Gordy Wright's there onto the podium once again this season, and someone who has been on a few podiums this season, and again, at least according to our statistics, will be the series champion on countback. Of course, pending all processing and stuff post-race, it is Luke McEwen on top. 9 consecutive podiums, a brand new record. That's the way you end the season. You had to come back from a difficult start, my good sir. And again, very impressive it is. How are you feeling right now?
Honestly, like I've only obviously just seen that provisionally I've won the championship. I was just sitting there like I don't know whether to celebrate. I don't know what to do. Like, yeah, I don't think I've ever been in a championship so close. Like, oh, what a race that was. Yeah, it was so tricky. I ended up with broken front wing. Felt like I had like steering damage. I was like, what is going on in this race? But yeah, to come out on top is provisionally amazing. But yeah, feel bad about Gordy. No one wants to lose by that slim margin. So just had a really good battle all year. Obviously coming from really far behind at the start. I think I was like 55 points behind the lead at the start after 2 rounds. So I was like, don't know how I've made it to this position, but yeah, honestly, I'm exhausted.
We had to go on countbacks. I believe you were separated now in third position. We also had to look at fifth position and stuff. Honestly, I've commentated on a lot of championships in esports, and I've never had anything quite as close to this. It kind of feels fitting though, doesn't it? After you came into this round locked on points, you leave it locked on points as well, and it shows you that you two were absolutely the two best drivers in it. Obviously, it's a bit of a shame to not see Pete. He had that bad round at Knock Hill as well. He kind of kept it going until the last. That would have been cool to see him back in properly involved in the championship. It was a crazy season though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unreal. Like, I've had my dad made a graph once, for this, showing everyone's points. There's like Pete down here, me and here, and Gordy here, and we were all just like going up and down every race. And it just seemed like whoever was most consistent kind of comes out on top in this type of championship. So yeah, it's just so close. I just can't believe it.
Now we see, obviously you're a busy driver in the world of esports. Now, having won this and won so many races and you've got so many podiums like that. Where are you heading to next? What's the dealio with you now? You got more races in the future before we get to Christmas?
Yeah, 2 more races before Christmas, both in the IMSA Esports Global Championship. P2 in that are really close on points. I think it's going to end very much like this with Alejandro in the Mercedes. So 2 more races. Going to basically get straight back on it tomorrow. Not much time to really celebrate. Yeah, looking forward to a Christmas break, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a tough year, but Luke, honestly, huge congratulations. I said to Gordy as well, thank you so much for the show that you've put on. As a driver, you've put on excellent displays all the way throughout the season and made this job pretty easy.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, what a great season it really was.
There we go. Cam, I'll bring you back into this again. Absolutely incredible season, thrilling performance all the way through, and yeah, what a season.
I think that ending basically sums it up, to be honest. It was so close between all of the drivers up towards the front, but especially those drivers, of course, of Gordy Much, Luke McEwen, and even Pete Berryman as well. I mean, Pete Berryman had such a good season. I think the issue for him was he had a couple of sort of lower finishes, sort of like around the 8th, 9th places, which was his issue, to be honest. And it was just so close that brought down his average effectively on the points. So it's pretty crazy, though, that was enough to overturn the sort of retirements that McEwen and Much had. But, McEwen there, 9 podiums in a row to finish the season. Much was pretty much the same apart from one, I think 7th place it was at Donington, that second race. So, when drivers are that consistent at the end of a season, it's really hard to compete against.
Well, for what has been a long season, it now comes to a close. And again, if you want to check out any of the other things, it's FIAFormula4.com/esports is where the standings are posted. Again, follow us on various social medias to go and see whether anything switches in the championship. But provisionally, at least, Henry Moore is the champion over in the Formula 4. That one is definitely confirmed. But here in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship is Luke McEwen for the 2nd consecutive season. It has been an incredible run throughout the season, and we thank you so much for joining us here. It's been myself, Liz McGlade, it's been Cameron Roger, and of course Connery Maddock bringing you the broadcast today in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, of course with our partners in Wave Italy and Base Performance Simulators. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the new future, but until then, have a very, very, very warm goodbye.